Hello, everybody. Welcome to Thursday Night Forum. We have a great show for you tonight, and it's buoyed by a signing. So, as you know, we've got Stan down the bottom right hand corner yet to join. He's probably there. Tony in the bottom. How you doing, Tony?
I'm here, feeling a little
Here.
bit better
And
today after I had spinal injections, one up in my upper neck, one in the lower back. So feeling a little bit better.
good, good. And we have Gary up top. So we'll start off with Gary. Gary, big news today. We signed a player, Leandro Trossard.
Yeah, no, that's good. We needed to do something. Like everybody else, I think we needed to bring in 2 to 3 players, and like most, I felt like we wasted a lot of time on the Mudryk deal. I'm glad that we got somebody in, and I like Trossard coming in. I remember it was a year or two ago when we played them, and he was threatening us. He didn't. I don't think he scored that day, but he was definitely threatening us, and it was like, wow, okay, that would be a good play to have on our side. Because at that point we still had, I think, Aubameyang and Lacazette and a very, very inexperienced Nketiah. So it's like if they can have a play up top play like that, why can't we? And now that we have him, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, you look just we don't usually like to look at stats, but if you look at his stats, he's right there with our attackers in terms of he's close to almost 10 goal and assists, goal contributions already,
Yeah.
and he sat out about 3 or 4 games for them. So,
And he's played left midfielder for
so,
majority of the season.
so
Not
I
even
don't
left
know
winger.
that that's not me talking. For those who are wondering, this is letting you know.
Yes,
But
Tony.
he brings.
Tony, wait your turn now. Come on,
He's
Tony.
It's called
bringing.
discussion. Discussion.
This wasn't in a discussion; it was a monologue.
Yes. Let everyone have their say, Tony.
Well,
All right.
fuck me. Carry on, Gary.
No, I mean, if he can play midfield, I mean, you look at his transfer market. It says he's played mostly, I think, on the left wing more than on the other
Left
positions.
midfield, Gary.
Don't stop correcting people, Tony. You'll get your turn.
It's the left side, anyways, right? So he played also in the middle as an attacking. So he brings He's multifaceted. So that's what Arteta is always looking for. So it's a good player to bring in. I believe he's hungry to get the stink of the whole relationship he had before out off of him. So we'll look. That's what we need as well. And I think he'll be happy to help us get to wherever we're going to go. And the team's going to give him a 4.5 year contract, so he knows he's not going to have to worry about that. And we're only looking up as we go along. So looking forward to seeing what he brings. Hopefully he's ready to go. I mean, he's rested, so it's supposed to like go through the medical tomorrow, and I assume he'll be on the bench for
I
us on
think he'll be ready.
Sunday, right?
Yeah.
So he'll be ready to go. So I'm looking forward to that. I think it's a good pickup. And I think it took 24 hours from the time the name came up to when we officially signed him. So, like most people, like I've said, if they wanted him, they would have already. If they want to play, they'll just go and get him. So, there you go.
Yep.
So, looking forward
Definitely.
to it.
The agenda tonight will be Trossard. We're going to talk about him. We're going to dip into the Palace 1, Man United 1, and of course today's City 4. Tottenham 2. Tottenham really do get battered everywhere they go. Then we'll get the Man United preview in and the Premier League preview as well. I'm going to go to Tony next because Stan gets himself settled. Welcome, Stan.
Good evening.
Welcome to the Thursday Night Forum. Listen, as Gary said, I think Trossard ticks a lot of boxes for us. We're trying to build the squad from the inside out now. So we have a really, really good first 11. We need competition for Martinelli. And I've been banging on about a forward, not so much a winger or a striker. Think about them as forwards. I think Trossard could play through the middle for us if we need it. He could be covered for Eddie and Nketiah. He could be covered for Martinelli, of course. And as Tony said, left midfield. Okay, Tony, got it in there. But this ticks a lot of boxes for us. We'll go through what are you showing there?
Where he was playing, Ray.
Oh, okay. Welcome, Stephen. Big up, everyone. Lots to talk about. Indeed, lots to talk about today. What's cooking, Mr. Bungle in the house? So, Tony, what's your thoughts on Trossard? We'll go around this.
He's a versatile player, which helps us. Mainly plays on the left, which I prefer on a winger because we got Saka. We don't need to go spend $100 million on a right winger. Doesn't make any sense. We needed a striker. He can play there. He can play left wing, and he can play where Granit Xhaka plays. He's played the majority of this season. That is left midfield. The least position he's played this year is left winger. He's actually played striker more than he has.
I'm reading it right here. It says transfer market says left winger is his main position. So you are the man that uses the transfer market as your Bible, and it says left winger.
This is wrong.
You're all wrong, but anyway, it doesn't matter. You're all wrong. You're all wrong, but you know.
Let me just tell you, this the guy who said AZ Maitland-Niles won the FA Cup for us.
I stand corrected. You're right. You're right.
And he said William Saliba would never play for us.
Look at the inbox. Look at your inbox, Gary.
Anything else on Trossard, Tony, before I pass it over to the staff?
I think the price is high for having 6 months left. We could sign him for free right now.
We can't sign him for free. He has an option on his contract, so it's not 6 months.
He's been training by himself.
His contract is for another 18 months till the end of 2024.
His contract's for 6 months.
He has an option. They have an option.
They're not that new an option. The new manager does not like him.
Okay. Anything else, Tony?
The new manager doesn't like him, Gary. He's been training on his own. They're not going to extend his contract. He has 6 months left.
Well, good seeing new face in here. Daniel Harley, clever signing, great finisher with both feet and good dribbling with the ball.
He came in to see feisty Tony. The best thing about him, he's really clinical. Would be the last sentence I say about him.
All right.
Before arguing with Gary for 10 fucking minutes.
Stan, what are your thoughts?
Good evening. That's a very fierce shirt you're wearing this evening, Tony. I can just start by saying.
Laurel.
So, Leandro Trossard. Well, for one, I'm really pleased that we're bringing him in. You can check back on some of these broadcasts some time ago when we were talking about incomings that he was a name that I was quite fond of. I even said, I believe, he's now my new Donny van der Beek. You may remember a few seasons ago that I was really wanted Donny to join us, and Trossard was the one that took over that place. So I'm glad to see it happen. He's a player that I believe is for now. So what I mean by that is, if you're comparing him to Mikhail Modric, I think that Modric is a player that's more for the future, and I think that we actually need a player for now, a player that can come in and hit the ground running and help us reach our goals, which is a title fight. And I think Leandro Trossard is well placed to do that. Now, the fee that we're paying, I think it's 21 million, and I think there are add-ons of around 6 million over 4 years. I don't know what any of those add-ons are. And as for his position, the thing is with Leandro Trossard, he is a right-footed player, but he's equally comfortable on his left. In fact, when he scored the hat-trick against Liverpool, he scored all of those with his weaker foot. And as I was looking as well, I think that he has scored the most goals in the league with his weakest peg. So that makes him quite a versatile player. He's good on his left or his right, which means that he can play in either wing. He can either take the ball up to the byline and cross it in, or he can cut in really comfortably and head for goal. So it makes him quite versatile. His actual positions, he's known more as a left-sided player, so much so that when Mikel Arteta switches to, say, a back five formation, he would fit very comfortably in as a left wing back. He would be able to go forward and give us that versatility. And he's played in that position a number of times. He's equally comfortably on the right because, as I mentioned, he's good with both feet. And he can also play off of a striker or play as a false nine. So I really like the sound of this because he could become a really good Swiss Army knife for Arsenal. Yeah. You know, he could be so valuable to us because he's equally effective in a variety of positions. I think he's had about the same amount of goal involvements this season as Martinelli.
Yeah.
And he's very good on the assist levels as well as scoring. So for me, I think that it's a no-brainer for what we're paying, and this is where we should be shopping. And I've talked before about Mikel Arteta having some lucky accidents, and I think that the lucky accident this time is that Ted Bowley swooped in with his big checkbook to take Mudryk, and it wouldn't surprise me, if Mudryk sort of has a really slow start, much in the same way as a Jack Grealish is having over at Man City. I'm not so sure that he's going to be able to come in and start, setting the world alight immediately, and that's what we need at Arsenal. We haven't got the time to let somebody settle in and to cajole them and to try them in various positions. So for me, Lisandro Trossard, brilliant signing. I'm really, really happy about it. Comes in at a good age as well. Oven ready, knows every team in the league. He's played against them. What is there not to like?
Yeah, exactly. Listen, shout out to Stephen here. Hopefully he's going to get
one more thing as well. He completed last season, he completed 70% of his dribbles. The only player that completed more was Adama Traore. So he's got all these lovely little stats behind him that could really help us.
Yeah.
Shout out to Stephen. I thought you were going to say, Stan, I thought you were going to say he got some coaching badges.
I don't know about that. I don't know about the coaching badges.
All right. Steven's had a pretty good week so far. Top it off.
Oh, and 3.9 key shots per game.
Steven's going to get to go home on Saturday. 3 weeks in the hospital is just way too long. So glad that you're doing well, Steven. Getting better as well. Come back for the big game as well. Shout out also to Daniel Hartley. People think he's just coming in as squad player. Arsenal wouldn't sign just a squad player, Gary.
Yeah, no. I mean, we've always said we need depth, and depth doesn't mean that you just come in and do spot duty. We want people to also want to compete. He definitely, as you say, when he is 28, so he's on the older side for us. But I believe our age dynamic has to be spread out, anyways.
Yeah,
and we definitely need somebody who can play day one. He can play day one. We know he hasn't played in probably in a week or two, so it looks like I feel ready to go. And why not? Why not? He should be on our bench, right? He should be on our bench if the physical goes through fine, and hopefully be able to come on right away. He's been playing. He's played 16 matches, I think. He'll be ready to go. So yeah, no, it's I think it's a good player to bring in. He is. I think he's hungry to kind of probably quiet all that noise that happened at the last place. And initially my fault was Arteta wouldn't want to go with a player coming in with a little bit of baggage. When you hear the information that's going out there, and then I thought about, well, if anybody had baggage when Arteta came to this squad, it would have been Xhaka. So, and he seemed to be okay with it. You know what? That wasn't me.
It's the old clean slate, Gary.
So I can't say, but he did. I assume he's talked to him by now, and probably have a good idea that it'll be good for the squad. And I think we're in a good place now where I think we have a solid base as to how this team works. And if you come in, then you're going to have to, acclimate to it pretty quickly, or else Arteta will push you out the door. So yeah, I think it's a good pickup. We need a couple more just like that. I said if they wanted to go out and get Mudryk, I'm behind that.
Mm-hmm.
And as Stan said, they got lucky, but it didn't go through. But they could have brought in Trossard anyways, because he can play he can play immediately, and he can play in multiple spots. And Mudryk probably is not that type. He's not at that level yet. So we'll see. I'm enjoying it. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does.
Yeah, there's a lot of things from that as well.
Only 3 players, right, in the league have regained the ball in the opposition half more than him. So he's a presser as well.
Yeah,
I think it's actually in the box. He's also one of the top players in the Premier League to get the ball back in the attacking third way in the box itself. So he definitely will. Yeah, he definitely will. That's what we're looking for, some easy opportunities to switch the play. He's there for you. I'd like to say hi to everybody in the chat. Sorry, I did not say that when I first started.
The thing as well, he comes from Brighton, and Brighton play in a very similar way to us. So when Barca used to talk about the Arsenal, the Barca DNA and take our players, we've gotten a Brighton player who has the DNA that we can transplant into our team and have that pressing ability. The other thing I was thinking about, as Gary touched on, the temperament from Trossard. So I was thinking about this today. Maybe Mikel Arteta went along and asked Ben White about his temperament because they were teammates for at least a season, if not more. So Ben White may have been able to tell Arteta some things. You want to get a good vibe for the temperament of the player. Listen, I've got nothing against the player wanting to move to a bigger club. Look at Harry Kane. He stayed at Tottenham, and he hasn't seemed to have that ambition to move on and win anything. Trossard,
I believe we tried to
wants
sign him
bigger
3 years ago.
Kane or
No,
Trossard?
Trossard. We tried to sign him 3 years ago, but
Yeah,
at the last minute, we got pipped by Brighton, would you believe?
By Brighton. Okay.
Also, if he's going to be sat on the bench, right, against the Man U game, we're probably going to have to nail him to the bench because he scores against big teams. He'd probably be dying to get onto the pitch to show the fans what he can do.
Yeah,
He won't be scared facing Man United. He'll love it.
he's going to get his opportunity. Tony, on Sunday, Mikel Arteta looked to the bench, and he had to bring Kieran Tierney on to play left side midfield.
That's a message to the board. That is. That's a message.
Yeah, to lock down the result. Not that we were rocking or anything, but you don't want to concede a goal. Now he can look to the bench, Tony, and bring Trossard in for Martinelli.
yeah. Or I can bring him in for a number of other different players.
Oh, you want to slide him into the left? You want to put him into the left 8? I see what you're trying to do here.
He can come on for Eddie. He can come in for Zaka. He can come on for Martinelli. There's 3 players he can come on for.
Trossard off the bench for a league starting in the FA and Europe, and makes us instantly stronger. Gary, the other thing as well, we're not just building for this season. We're building for a Champions League campaign, and you have to build out your squad for that. So we're going to finish this season, and Trossard will be there next season as well to help in league games or Champions League games.
Yeah, we got him for 4 years, so 4 full seasons. So yeah, he knows he'll be here, so he can just work on getting acclimated to what we have. I mean, that's what we're doing, right? We need to be ready for Champions League. We need to, we're gonna need him probably for Europa League. Now
He's not cup tied, so we can use him,
Yeah.
Gary.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, so we can play in Europa League, and then I guess we play FA Cup. So even if we decided to rest our left wing and you brought him in, I don't feel like we would be taking a step back.
Yeah, exactly.
It still would be nice if Fabio Vieira picks up some speed and gets into that similar kind of position where he can come in and we don't drop
off. Yeah.
We now have like 3 players in the background for 2 of our most important sides now. Trossard, ESR, and Fabio Vieira. I think that we could be adequately covered now because Trossard can play on either side, right? It gives us a lot of room here now with Fabio Vieira, who can play on the right. ESR, who's equally as good on the left or going through the middle. I think we've got more variety just by this one signing.
Yeah, Daniel said he's a great player. Imagine what he's going to be like with players around him. 7 goals in 16 games for Brighton. With all due respect to Brighton, they have a very, very good team, and they got a few really good players in there. But we would like to say we'd like to think Arsenal have, 9, 10, 11 very good players that are going to help him get amongst the goals.
He's going to have a spring in his step. You ever been in a position where you've applied for a job, and it's not one of them ones where you're just applying for a job. It's a job that you really want. You really want that one, and you get it. You ain't late. You come in your best suit. You're there. You're in every morning, sometimes coming in early. You can't wait to get to work. He's going to be like that playing for Arsenal now.
Yeah.
He knows that he's got a title, a Premier League medal within his grasp as well.
Yeah. Trossard is the type of signing Stephen was expecting, not a young speed merchant that has not proven anything yet to cost what Chelsea paid and what we were willing to pay, I think. Also, Gary, it's helpful he turned down that team in our neighborhood, and I believe maybe Marseille as well. There's rumors about Marseille.
Oh.
So he's turned down 2 teams for the chance to come to Arsenal. And
What we saw today, and we'll get into that probably, but what we saw today, you can understand why he decided that the North London team to go to is probably the one in red.
the one in red, exactly. BX Gunner, he creates a lot and scores. Throw him into this Arsenal team, and he will thrive. So, getting the same numbers as Martinelli, we'd expect some production from him, even if he's getting 20 minutes a game. I think Brighton fans will see the dismantling of their team. Shame, because I got a soft spot for the city. I think Stefan, Brighton are able to replenish. They're like crabs. If they lose a leg, they're able to grow one back. So, I think they're never going to overcommit and sell the heartbeat of their team. Like Caicedo might stay there. McAllister, Gross. There's a lot of good players in there, and I think Brighton are also able to identify. They have a list of players as well, Tony. So I think Brighton are seventh place right now. I don't see them. And Matoma has come in and done really well in the last 3 or 4 games for them.
Yeah, they've been doing good. Like I said, Trossard's been training alone for last week. They're always look to sell him. New manager doesn't like him. Player wanted to go somewhere else as well. So
I thought this was a little bit petty. I read an article today with what's the manager at Brighton, Ziberti or whatever his name.
Zerbi.
Yeah, and the article was just basically him. It's just an article about him saying how, Chelsea have got a future Ballon d'Or winner in Mudryk, and I thought he's come out just to do an interview to tell everyone how good a player is at another team on the same day that he lost Trossard. I thought that's so petty. He didn't come out. He didn't come out and say Arsenal have got a really good player there. I think he'll do really well there. It's a good move. I just think that things like that are a bit petty. It's obvious what he was trying to do. I
haven't looked to see why he doesn't like the player, but he definitely doesn't like him.
So I mean, we've
all worked for a boss who's a bit of a wanker. I've worked for quite a few. So
he did say that
and your 201 different professions.
January 7th, he wasn't going to play him against Middlesbrough in the FA Cup, and I suppose clubs want to rotate for the FA Cup, and Trossard didn't react really well to the news that he wasn't playing 2 weekends ago. So I don't know if he put that down to a bad temperament for the player. Maybe he was thinking this move was going to happen for him in January as well, and he saw Matoma as well. And I don't know. I think a player wants to be ambitious, and we should see this player now with Arsenal. Also, be prepared to sit on the bench at times as well, Gary.
Have a question. Quick question. This Matoma guy, was he brought in for their academy at Brighton, or was he a player that they brought in from another team?
They brought him in from a Belgian team.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
What? When? This window? In January?
Probably last summer.
Oh, okay. I've never seen him before. He just popped up and he's running around everywhere really quickly.
He's probably been playing in the under-23s or something like that, and performing well. He's in the top 5 in numerous categories, Trossard. What else do we have to say about him? I think he's going to allow Saka, maybe not Saka, Gary, but Martinelli. He's going to allow some players in our squad to rest as well, especially in FA Cup games.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think a lot of us have noticed Martinelli not being up to the task. And now, not necessarily that he has competition, that now he can take a little step away if he needs to. Or Arteta can actually hopefully go to his bench sooner than later if he feels like Martinelli needs it. Needs to switch things up for sure. So yeah, no, it'll be good having him on the squad for that reason as well. If it puts a little competitive juices into Martinelli's play, all the better, because we know that when he feels like it, nobody basically can defend him. All right,
yes, when he's on it. Yeah, the age profile as well. It won't hinder Martinelli, Gary.
No, we have our starting 11.
Mm-hmm.
Right, unless you find there's not too many players out there that we can go out there and buy that will supplant what we have, right? Outside of a striker, and we already have one, so that's not necessarily why we wouldn't be looking there for a starter if we don't need to. But we have a solid 11. You know, our 11 can compete with anybody in the Premier League.
Mhm.
So, but we need better behind them. If they can supplant them, all the better. That just makes it even better for us, right? I mean, you saw it today with City, right? They stuck with their second, well, their second team probably had what seven bench players out there. They just stuck with them,
Gary
and
calling it a second team. Fuck it hell.
it is a second team. It isn't
Isn't it?
like
What a second team.
that's not depth. That's a second 11 they got there.
Their third team could probably win the FA Cup.
They put out their
Crazy.
second team, like I said, and
Red
they
Mahrez
just
is in the
they
second
held
team.
on, and
Fucking
just like
crazy.
all of a sudden, you know, you can play with them for maybe a half, but it doesn't sound like you can play with them for, you know, a half, 3/4 of a match, right? It pretty much says it all right there with what they did. You know, not too many. Yeah, just nah. But we don't necessarily. We're not going to be at that level because we can't afford those types of players. But we need to have better than what we have on the bench right now. We need players, like I said, that Arteta will look at the bench and not hesitate to bring on.
Yeah,
Trossard is like that. Emil Smith-Rowe is like that. You know, Tierney and Tomiyasu are like that. El Neni now is like that. But we need more. We need more.
Where we find ourselves right now in a title race and leading the title race by 5 points, we can't be looking to a Marquinhos in this title race in the next 5 months. We want to be looking at a Trossard maybe. Can you imagine taking any one of the so can you imagine the 70 minutes? We've got Martinelli, we've got Saka, Erdegaard, and Nketiah, and opposing teams are tired, and Martinelli comes off for, you know, a terrier dog like Trossard, who's just gonna keep pressing, keep harrying that fullback, Tony, and 65 minutes, whatever it is, 70 minutes, Trossard comes on for 20 minutes, and he's going to keep going against the teams.
Doesn't he need to be coming on about 30 minutes left?
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I mean, I'm not even trying to set him up here, Stan. He does this. He just does this.
Arteta has a plan.
He does it in the Europa
Daniel,
League.
this
He
is
brings
Tony.
it-
This
he
is
brings
Tony,
him on at
Daniel.
30 minutes
Daniel,
left
we're
in
so
Europa.
sorry. I was gonna say as well. It's not usually like this, but I'd be fucking lying.
No,
So,
it's this. Tony's one of
it's
the
like this most of the time.
one of the star
Daniel.
panelists for he's hot take Tony. That's what we
You'll
call
grow
him.
to love
What's
Tony
wrong with
like
making
we
a
did, Daniel. You
substitution
will.
at 30 minutes?
You know you're a manager. Why are you asking
He
him to
does it in
change?
he does it in Europa.
Right. I
Yeah.
think it's time that Tony was like sent to train on his own. I'm afraid.
We keep trying. He keeps finding the keys.
It's going to be Aubameyang.
He's gonna get in. He keeps getting in.
Daniel said Brighton plays similar style to us, possession based also. So him adapting will not be a problem. This is it, Stan. We were looking at a Mudryk, which could have taken time to adapt. And as you said, this is what we've been doing the last couple of years, taking Premier League players that need a chance.
Listen, no. Come on, can't you not really see what's happening here? It's another Lisandro Martinez. Arsenal never wanted Mudryk in the first place because Chelsea were also eyeing Trossard. They just sent out a diversion and let them go up there and spend all their money, and we just like roll up to Brighton with a cool 26 million and just go jump in the back of the car, lad. We're driving down to London. But the good thing is, usually when you buy a player, right, they come in and there's maybe one player that they could unsettle, one player that's now got competition. But with Trossard, there's 4 players, right? He could be a problem to either Nketiah, Saka, Martinelli, or ESR potentially. That's got to be good. It means that players can't rest on their laurels, and we will hopefully continue to get better performances. So,
I mean, you also don't believe we're going after Diaby then?
Well, I would like to think. I'd like to think that now that we've got the Trossard deal done, which gives us more variety across the front three, that we should now be fixing our gaze onto a Thomas Partey cover. Going to get another winger, as much as maybe a Diaby is a good player. You know what I mean? Are we going to do a Chelsea and just start buying loads of players in one position and not looking at the balance?
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
We could go for another 28-year-old that played with Partey's former team at Atletico. They got a pretty good defensive midfielder there that we can get for 20 million or so.
Why
I'm gonna
not?
do that.
Why not? As I say,
I would.
I think we should now be putting all of our eyes on someone to cover Thomas Partey. Maybe not Tielemans, because I think Tielemans is not quite 6, but someone. And if we had around about 90 million euros in the kitty, we've still got quite a lot of that left. So we should be able to entice somebody. You know, but the time's running out, and Arsenal have been, you know, sometimes a little bit quick, a little bit slow off the mark. So TikTok.
I think one thing all of us here are a little bit irritated about is that Arsenal did show their hand with the Mudryk deal, going as far as saying we're prepared to spend over 100 million euros. I was getting quite uncomfortable after the second bid. I said, take it or leave it after the second bid. We've alerted clubs now that we have that money in hand. You know what I mean? Gary, we were crying for depth and a goal scorer, and we got it. Also, the FA Cup team is instantly better. So, you know, we're going for the league, but we want to maybe extend in all competitions as much as possible.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, FA Cup team is good, but I think we have a starter now. Once again, we have another starter we can use.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's good to have players that can start for us, and whenever we need it, be it injuries or just players needing a little bit of time, especially when we start playing more midweek games. So yeah, no, I think it's good. I mean, he'll be good for that.
This
I'd be
is what
curious if he ever sets Eddie for
this is
Trossard.
what. Go ahead, Tony.
So that'd be interesting to see if he sets Eddie for Trossard for a few games, see what he does there.
I mean, he barely plays as a striker, so Martinelli.
He played there more than he did a left winger.
I mean, it could be interesting. We might experiment with lineups a little bit in the FA Cup, and we do have City away. And if you're going to win the FA Cup, you're going to have to beat the bigger teams as well.
Yeah,
Brighton just got Matoma in the summer. He's not moving. Matoma is the next son in the league. He'll fetch 60 million. And, you know, Brighton are just a well-run club. They identify talent at a reasonable price, bring them in, expose them to the Premier League, and other Premier League teams come and take their players. And that's their model, really, while they play well. And it might be a hindrance, actually, for a team like Brighton to make Europe this season. You know, that would stretch their squad. We've seen that happen with West Ham. Always thought
my
Brighton.
point now.
Yeah, go.
As I say, in the FA Cup, we've been using all of our starters. They might not all start. They might start with 6 or 7 starters, but all the starters are playing. Whether they come on with 30 minutes left or whatever, they're all getting to go in the FA Cup.
Yeah, but now we have a situation where we have another player that we can save a Martinelli from playing. We can save, you know, Eddie Nketiah, maybe even Saka.
Yeah, West Saka would get some rest.
Yeah, exactly. Any other points on Leandro? I want to keep saying Lisandro. Leandro Martinez. Always
Martinez.
Leandro
Trossard.
There you
LT.
go. LT. Always thought Brighton had the potential.
You don't have a nickname for him yet, Stan?
I don't know. I just came out with LT. Top of my head. Give me time. I'll work on it.
He's just turned 28 years old, so the age is not really terrible. Ian Wright did come to the club late, you know, at Arsenal. He won things with the club as well. So if you have that motivation within you, you can prosper at Arsenal, especially now with this team. Daniel said, I heard.
He almost looks like a Zaka double-ganger.
There, just like what I said. I wasn't even reading that, Daniel. I heard people saying he's 28, like he's old. I think Ian Wright was 28 when he signed. 28 is young these days for a footballer.
They look after themselves a lot more now. They know what's required. They can see that footballers can go beyond 30, 31, and they want to earn as much in their football career as they can. You know, so 28, he's just turned 28, and I think it's a good, as Gary said earlier. I mean, do we really need to be taking on any more infants? We've got a lot of those. but it's good now. He forms a nice little trio, doesn't he, with somebody like Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus as being a senior player that's been playing in the league. You could put Xhaka in that little group as well. I think he'd be quite valuable for us.
Yeah, exactly. This Premier race is getting serious now. I don't want any regrets. We need a partay cover. Gary, will it be one or will it be more? We really don't know, right?
It
Are we
needs to
gonna get
be one, maybe possibly two. I mean,
another one?
We've got the money.
we
Needs to
know,
be 2 more.
I mean, you know how it took us what 3 days before we put in the bid, started talking full of Trossard. So until we hear the next one, we won't, it'll be another 24, 48 hours before that one is done. So I can't see us doing two in the next.
But what would those two
week?
positions be for you, Gary? Obviously a 6 for Partey, but what would the other one be? What were you looking at?
Well, I mean, it'd be nice to get a striker, right? But it'd be nice to get a center back,
Mhm.
Any more midfielders, I just, the striker, your number 6, like you said.
Could we be
even a
greedy
center
then?
back.
Get a number 6 and get Tielemans on a cheapie because his contract that'd be crafty, mate.
Yeah, no.
There's a little extra.
So
What
That'd
number
be
6
nice.
were you talking about, Tony?
I'm prepared to do a Trossard, but there is a possibility where we have to get higher quality as well. I'm quite happy with Trossard. It's not going to hurt Martinelli, but when it comes to maybe I'm willing to accept Tielemans might not be the quality that we need in midfield. You know what I mean? He's had some indifferent games. Just think about that, lads. Rich
Okay,
Sports
wait,
is
but just
Depth,
looking at
right?
the opposition.
Right.
For depth.
Huh?
Coming
For
off the
depth,
bench,
yeah.
he'd be good, wouldn't he?
But we're only going to have so many squads.
Arteta can make him better.
We can't be
Possibly.
too worried about spots. We need to bring in players. We're going to rotate them, and the only reason why we don't rotate them is because we don't have players that Arteta feels comfortable and confident with.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
This-
if he had confidence in the players that he had on the bench, he would play them, especially when they are deemed necessary. Right.
Mhm.
Like we needed scorers for many a game, and Pepe just sat there. Right.
Yeah, he didn't believe in Pepe.
So,
He doesn't really believe in Lakonga unless he's in a
Yeah.
pinch.
Yeah.
Cedric is another one. Marquinhos is another one.
Yeah.
There's
Sorry,
about
but
2 spots.
Tony was talking about a 6. What number 6 are you talking about?
Salt McGee's for Atletico.
I
Who?
never heard that name.
Jack McGee?
Salt McGee's. Or
Yeah.
however the fuck you pronounce his last name.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
All right, Rich is in the house. Rich Sports. Man
Yeah.
United on the way back. Stan, what do you think about? Could Man United be the rivals to us in the next year or two?
Well, we're going to find out really on this weekend, didn't we? It's
Yeah.
coming up quick and fast. We're going to
We'll
find
chat
out.
about United a little bit later. Saul, okay.
Never heard of him,
So-
but okay, I'll look him up. But I think, look, the last time that we played them, and that was at Old Trafford. Come on, I don't like to say we should have won that one, but we should have won that one. You know what I mean? There was, even the referees have come out afterwards and said that they made a mistake. We were so close we were so close. I think that the players are going to be looking to rectify that one specifically for themselves on at the weekend when we play them.
Stan, we've been on a mission to rectify those defeats. Brighton, we beat them 4-2. Brighton had our number last season.
Yep.
Newcastle, we gave it a good go. We really should have beaten Newcastle on the day. Newcastle actually had to retreat into their shell.
You basically made them play like Bolton.
Yeah, like a crab or turtle reference there. They had to stick their head back in their shells and retreat. They couldn't live with us the first 15 minutes. And now Tottenham, we've gotten revenge on Tottenham for that game as well. Now we need one more. We need many more wins, but it's just the next one, right, Gary? The next one.
Yep.
In the next
38
one, right?
tests. We're on test number 19, halfway through the semester, as you like to say. And we need just one more win.
One more, yeah.
And then the next game we'll need one more win. So I think we're coming in good. And we've seen,
It's a marathon. I feel like We have this 5-point gap now. We have a game in hand. I feel like we should be close to the end, but we're only on halfway.
I know it's crazy. We're almost in February and we still got 19 games left
I know.
in the league.
We're not even halfway there.
Could be back
we're
to 8
play-
points though. That's the thing, isn't it? That would be so cool. That'd be so
get it
good.
back to 8.
You know, an 8-point gap is a nice little spread.
Let's talk about City real quick then, since we've got here.
I watched that today.
City, now City won the game, right? But they now have an opportunity just before us. Let's start off with Gary. Just before us on Sunday, they play Wolves. Obviously, we're going to be Wolves fans for those 2 hours. But they could draw within 2 points of us. We would have 2 games in hand. That just creates a little bit of tension maybe with the crowd, our crowd.
Well, it's a home match for us, and we've been, I believe, oblivious to that stuff this season more than not.
Yes,
So
very good.
every match we've gone into has always been that okay, this is the one that's going to be tough for us. This is going to be a bogey team. This is the banana peel. This is all of that, you
Yeah.
know. And we've pretty much risen to the challenge every time. So I'm not expecting anything different. We played them the last time, and like most people have said, we played really well. Did not get the 3 points, even after we scored. I think we scored the goal to tie it up. So they're going to be looking to do much better. They're playing at home. We might have an extra person on the bench that we didn't have before, and we've had a whole week to get ready for this thing.
Right.
Whereas
Yeah.
Manchester United's they had to play midweek, and they watched the match. They watched 2 points to just go away in the last minutes of the match. So
That hurt.
they're gonna want to redeem themselves, but we're gonna want to get the 3 points from them. So like I said, I think different team. We're a different team. And we're playing like a top team in the league right now, so I expect it just to continue. And the more weapons we add to our shelf, the better off we're going to be. The healthier we get, the better we're going to be. So yeah.
Let's just touch on that psychology, Stan. City could draw within 2 points. We will have 2 games in hand. Gary rightly says Arsenal have not seemed to be phased by these situations, mentally speaking.
That 2 games in hand is nice though, right? Again,
Yes.
it's a nice cushion, and I keep harking back, as as you've heard me on this broadcast a few times now. 2015, when Leeds won the title, we weren't able to do that.
Yeah.
Sorry, we were the only ones that are able to do them twice in that season, and they still got the prize. So that I keep thinking about that, and it just gives me eternal hope.
Yeah, definitely.
Take an extra game in hand doesn't matter for a day.
Yeah, but the 2 games in the hand, notwithstanding, I still think that we've got enough about us to do what we need to do. But the 2 games in hand really helps. It's brilliant.
Yeah. Listen, I think Wolves might give them a tricky game. Tony, did you see the game today? I didn't see it, but Tottenham get battered everywhere they go. They go 2-0 up. And as Gary said,
I was just following the score along.
Yeah.
I watched it.
0, then 2-1, 2-2, then fucking 2-4. So
yeah.
I watched it, and the first goal was Edison was basically channeling Hugo Lloris for the first one. I thought, is that a Lloris? No, it was Edison. And Emerson Royal, man. I mean, remember that? Remember Emerson Royal? He scored a goal, man. I should get a T-shirt made. I was there. I saw it when it happened, sort of thing. And the 2 goals that they scored in that first half, it was like, it was a very Cactus Jack. It was like bang, bang, 2 goals, really quick, one after the other. And I thought to myself, more points are going to get dropped here. And it was weird, right? Because usually with Tottenham, as we've seen most of this season, it's the second half where they play their better game, and here they go in at 2-0 up. And it was a complete reverse. When they came out for the second half, they just they weren't able to keep Man City back. And what a game for Riyad Mahrez, of the 4 goals, he scores 2 of them and assists with the other 2. And, this is one of their B players, apparently. I mean, we were so close to signing Riyad Mahrez ourselves. I was reading earlier in the week an article from Mahrez who was saying it was almost a done deal. But Leicester, were really fighting to block it, and he would have made the move, and it was so close. What a player! He really showed his quality today in that game.
Yeah, Gary, your thoughts on it? Listen, I was watching it. Yes, I was keeping an eye on the scoreline, 2-0 up from Tottenham, and I'm thinking, what's wrong with this City team? Where's the expected comeback? Or
They were getting booed at one point by their fans.
Yeah, where is this run that they're going to put together, Gary? And they keep flattering to deceive.
Well, yeah, and I watched it, and as you know, I always will post stuff in our
You jinx it.
messages, and I am the jinx in it because I how in the world can I watch that team play and not say something about it, whether they're winning or losing, depending on what. In this case, with them having a lead, it was helping us, which would have been nice. But then you look at their bench and you realize they haven't played Foden, Kevin De Bruyne, is it Walker? You just name it. They had like 7 starters on the bench. 7. 7 of their starters on the bench, and you're like, wow.
including Holland.
Yeah. Now Holland, I thought he started.
Did he start today?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
De Bruyne
yeah.
was on the bench.
I thought he was.
Yeah, he started because it was like, I thought he started. Yeah,
He did
yeah,
start. Haaland started.
Yeah.
De Bruyne was on the bench.
yeah. And they were like, De Bruyne hasn't come on yet, and they don't even need him, right? So now, the fact that we somewhat depending on them to do something is a reason why it didn't work, right? Because they never kind of do what we want. It was good to see them collapse, but it was bad to see them collapse, right? So they basically screwed us no matter what they did.
It was a win-win or a lose-lose situation.
Yes, lose, whatever.
I was
happens,
hoping for a high-scoring draw. I was thinking, please, just 3-3 or 3-3. I'll take it.
And you know what? They almost
I was willing
scored.
them to score. I was willing Spurs to score a goal, and I'm like, no.
Goal
They
draw.
almost scored that 3rd goal, right?
Yeah,
I mean, the ball comes off the defender and hits the post. I mean, they had their opportunities to get. You wonder in a game like that, Harry Kane doesn't score, and you're like, wow. So now he's gone 2 games without scoring, trying to tie the record, right?
He needs 2 goals, I think, for
Right.
Jimmy
Greaves, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he needs two to break it, but he needed 1 just to tie the thing, and he's gone scoreless in 2, right? I think
It happens though. Do you remember was it Ian Wright when Ian Wright was trying to tie Cliff Baston's?
Yeah.
It
Gets a little tense.
Gets a little tense, doesn't it? When you got to do something like that.
And it's not even like he's getting that many opportunities either. So it's like, is he like missing sitters? No. Is he getting opportunities? No. So it's like,
see, what we don't realize is for the last few matches, Harry Kane's had a vest on under his shirt that's got like the number and the but you can't do that until you do it. So you have to keep wearing it underneath and waiting.
by the time you see it's gonna have holes in it because it's been worn so long.
The moths have been eaten. Daniel said, I heard Pep.
They look like a pair of Tony's underpants.
I wonder if Pep is like Alex Ferguson. He came out tonight in the press conference with his psychological mind games.
Oh, he said something. What is it on Twitter? There's like a meme. Like it was. I don't even like to say it's basically he said it's that team, but he said the real name. Oh, that's all he had to say. He's losing to that team.
This is the history. This is the history of the Tottenham. That's all he had to say.
Let me just answer what Stefan says. Most bizarre thing Arsenal fans willing spuds on, but in the game, when it was like looking for Spurs to maybe get a 3rd goal, you're like, come on, and then when Man City get their 4th one, you're like, oh, you fuck.
I was watching like Curtis Shaw as he was watching the game, and when they scored the first one. He was trying to hold it in. He just couldn't. And then, like minutes later, they score the second one. He's like, forget it. I'm like, I can't hold it in. I'm enjoying this.
Here's the thing: we're in a title race, so we are not just worried about 38 results. We're not worried about our own results, of course, not just. But we are worried about our 38 results. But we're worried about all of the other results that affect us, and we want to keep that gap. And if other teams are going to fall away while we're taking care of our business, well and good, we'll take it. but
Mhm.
we
A
primarily
draw
have
would
to
have
take
made
care-
me the happiest.
we have to take care of business first and foremost. Don Juan, I agree with you. They're not bang average, but we can beat them. They have deficiencies. They're not consistent enough to win the league. I do agree with that.
Rashford's reborn, isn't
Predict a 4-1 result. Yeah, Rashford is back. Nothing less than 3 points. BX Skinner says, I took off from Sunday to properly enjoy the atmosphere. It has been ages since an Arsenal United game meant so much. I missed all the fun last Sunday, but not against them. And we got a shout out Martinelli throwing the Arsenal flag up into the spider nets of the webcams for the Tottenham game. So of course, fallout from that is that real Charlison gets away with what he did scot free. But we move.
Got
Never
away
ever
with a
rely on
handball
Tottenham.
today. I mean, just getting away with a lot, isn't he? As I said, he's probably got some pictures on the VAR
Can I
team
mention
there.
one thing while we're talking about that game?
Yeah.
I don't like our own fans posting the spectator's name and the area lives at. That's kind of shitty.
What? Who? What? The Tottenham guy?
Yeah.
The guy that kicked
I-
Ramsdale.
Yeah, they posted
Yeah,
where he
that is-
lives and everything.
yeah.
His name.
I think people need
Yesterday.
to be. I think people
I don't
need to be
like that.
aware of the dangers of what people can act on when they have that kind of information. I definitely agree with you there, Tony.
Yeah, kick in the back, does it? Or are they getting fucking killed or whatever would happen?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I
man.
agree.
Hell, Tony.
Won't surprise me.
Tony,
That's what some of
this
the
is
fans
not.
are.
This is not fucking Oklahoma. There's no people.
Yeah,
pulling
but
shotguns
it is
on the
dangerous. I
ranch.
mean, Arsenal fans.
Like your mob in Ohio.
Arsenal fans have to be escorted into the stadium, so it is a gauntlet.
If this is where Tony lives, right? They'd ride into town, hogtie a guy, drag him out into the woods, and never be seen again. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen in Islington.
Fan said, I think we'll beat them on Sunday in the new artwork around the stadium.
He'll probably
will
get
be
like a
done.
lump of dog shit put through his letterbox.
Hopefully, Trossard will be in the squad. I think there will be some of that artwork. I see they were putting some of it up there then already. When City got their first goal, I knew the comeback was on. Spurs realized they were letting Arsenal win the league, and they decided to bottle it. I mean, it could be very true. Who knows? What's happening with Conte, Gary? What do you think? What's his shelf life?
I think he deserves more time, like at least another 10 years.
I'll go along with that. Yeah.
He deserves more time, so he's doing a good job. I actually like what he's doing. I don't know why we would want him to change. I mean, he can't want to do that anymore. I mean, that was embarrassing today.
Was he crying on the sideline? Did he look sad?
I don't know what they didn't show him too often because, especially in the second half, because there's just a lot of scoring going on, and so he didn't really.
I think he
wanted to tear his hair out, but then he realised how expensive it is to get it all transplanted back in. Yeah. And I'm surprised he saw the game through to the 90 minutes because at half time I thought he's definitely leaving the stadium. I'm just going to say I'll be back. I'm just going to go and get a newspaper and some milk. Not return.
First you cry, and then you accept how things are, and you don't cry because you're used to it. You know what I mean?
It's Tommy Tickle, mate. He can't be lifting his skirt up anymore. That he wants the job. He's like, I'm blowing out other jobs, waiting for this one. Basically, in an article I saw. So, and I don't think Conte wanted to go there in the first place. Because you remember when it was all going down, they approached him the first time, and he was like, no, And then they got the other guy, and then they went back for him, and he was like, "Oh, there's no more jobs. He's got, no more jobs. Now, fuck it, I'll take it." I don't think he wants to be there.
I don't think he wants to be there. I just want Conte to do one thing for that team. When he's leaving, do a PR stunt, and if Tuchel's coming in, do the reverse hand grab from that game as kind of a relay. Okay, it's over to you. You take on the baton of the history of the Tottenham.
What is it about Tottenham going after? Like every manager they get in is ex-Chelsea. Have you noticed that? Nearly every manager going back to what? Going back to fucking Villa-Boas, Andre Villa-Boas. Right?
I don't know why they can fill a stadium. I don't know why do people want to go and watch that team? struggle.
I was watching a show today, and they had like a 14-year-old fan and like a probably 50-year-old fan on there talking. And after the 14-year-old had talked about the game and all of that, the 50-year-old is like, "I'm just gonna tell you, Brett, right now. Why don't you? You know what? You just switch teams. This you don't you don't need to be sitting here like me watching this team for 30 plus years and seeing this, and then like no, he's like, I'm just switch teams.
Go to Brentford.
Heed my warning. Take my advice.
I hear
Just
Fulham's
move
doing
on.
quite well. It doesn't have to be Arsenal. It doesn't have to be Chelsea. It could
Yeah,
be Fulham.
yeah.
It could
No,
be Brentford.
it's a struggle for them, and
Um,
they, what, they when they brought in Nuno, that was the best time for them, I believe, to do
mm,
something drastic, right? So
yeah,
sell your top players and let Nuno figure it out with the monies that you have. I mean, they have tons of money, and they could have done things a little bit differently because now all they've done is you've got Son and you've got Kane there, and
Excuse me.
they're not going to help you, right?
no,
They're
no,
not.
they're
They're
coming
not.
to
They're
the
not
end
the.
of
They're
it.
not that player that you can. That's gonna say, get on my back. I'm gonna finish this off for you. Son
No,
can't
I
do it,
know.
and Kane tries, but
I
he's
mean,
not the one right now.
they will be known as the deadly partnership that didn't win anything
I've
really.
not seen Son smiling for quite some time,
No,
and I
no.
like it.
Yeah. Well,
Daniel said
like I said, when he came in, whenever he started the season, he walked in with the
that
sadness on his
that
face. I was
Monday
like, you know
feeling.
what, Arsenal, go get him now, because he looks like a man that doesn't want to be
That
there,
was a couple of seasons
and
ago.
we
Yeah.
didn't do it. We should have done it
Uh,
then.
Dan says knew Spurs would bottle it even when they were 2-0 up. Spurs being Spurs. We knew that 2 goals might not be enough for a Manchester City team. Tottenham is not and never has been a top 6 big club. They've been punching above their weight. Media darlings as well, but we are now are now returning back to form, reverting back to type, as it were. Uh,
All right, Chelsea's doing the same thing, right? So,
yes,
the carousel that is football is coming back
cycle.
around, right?
Yeah, the cycle.
The big boys are starting to move up the table and solidify themselves, and um, the people with money are solidifying themselves. So there you go.
The biggest lie the devil told was that there was a shift
I
in
saw a
market
great tweet today, and it was just
something.
a picture of it was a picture from Live Aid from back in the 80s, and it was a shot from sort of above, from behind the stage, and on the stage was a picture of just a lone Freddie Mercury with his hand up from behind, and all you could see in front of him was the sea of people from all of the people that were attending. And the tweet on the top, it just said, Graham Potter addresses the Chelsea team ahead of on the 1st of February, something like that. It was quite funny.
No Casemiro. So let's talk about now. That was City and what City did to Tottenham. I don't know if he wanted Tottenham to do something against City, but they couldn't. United took care of City last weekend with that controversial goal and went to Palace. They were going to go to Palace and step closer to us, Gary, and pick up 3 points. That was the script, right? Pick
Yep.
up 3 points, put pressure on Arsenal, beat Arsenal at the Emirates on Sunday, and then they'd be in a title race.
Just funny. Yeah, it's just funny.
The story goes. So the story
Yes.
goes.
Yeah. No. We are. Like I said, I think we're set. We're set up to handle whatever's coming our way,
Yes.
no matter what it is. So
Even with Casemiro, I would have, some of us want to see that. Not that it would be Partey versus Casemiro. It would have been Erdegaard versus Casemiro. But definitely, I'm easier feeling if they're weaker, we can get 3 points easier. I don't want to test ourselves. I want to win 3 points on Sunday. I don't want to see a tussle. That will come,
As good as Casemiro is, if you look at how he plays, he's literally just very static in front of the 2 centre backs. He doesn't come forward very often at all. But I have seen games where people have because he's not very mobile. I've seen games where people have just been able to run past him. And that's what happened almost in the last game, which caused him to lunge and get himself that booking, because he isn't the fastest. As good as he is, don't get me wrong, he's got some very good traits in his game. So, You know, who are they going to bring in now instead of Case Mero? Who are they going to bring in? Fred?
Fred probably, yeah.
More mobile, isn't he, Fred?
Yeah,
Maybe
and
Case Mero. Maybe
Tottenham,
Case Mero would have suited our game more.
Man United fans will say Fred played against us up in their place, but we didn't have Thomas Partey that day, and
Yeah.
that's the big difference. That's
Well,
the
I mean,
difference.
as good as they have seemed, I mean, you look at their goals and goals against, and it's not that good. It's not that good. So we are a large amount away from them in terms of how much we score and how much we defend. So it's ours not necessarily to lose, but we have set ourselves up pretty well, and we've been playing
I
pretty
think
good. So
I think
it's
Gary
gonna be
last season we were playing on fine margins. Arsenal were playing on fine margins last
Very.
season. I think
Yeah.
United have arrived at that point where they're playing on fine margins, Gary.
yep,
They win by the odd goal, you know.
They can't get that. It's hard to get that second goal sometimes for them. So
and
yeah.
and against Palace they were denied probably a clear penalty. You can
It wouldn't
see
surprise me if you see them raise their game against us at the weekend, and then their next game against what would be perceived a weaker team, they stumble. A little bit like if you look back at our wins, loss, and draw table for last season, you know there was a cluster of D's. Oh, sorry, cluster of L's, right? 3 games in a row where we would lose. You know, clusters of D's, and I think Man United maybe at that stage get some good wins, have some nice matches, but they may pick up little clusters still of draws and losses, where
Yeah.
we seem to have. You know, if you look at our draws and losses for this season, fucking hell, you know, you could almost pinch yourself, could almost look like an invincible run that we're on.
Yeah, there's the difference. Yeah. Listen, I hope we only lose one. I hope at the end of the season we've only lost that one game, and we can say, what if we just beat
That would be something, man.
them at Old Trafford? We would
That
be
would be
invincible.
But what's funny is they,
Oh,
they talk about like
Nice.
City getting the win. Oh, they're on a really good streak of wins wins versus losses, and it's like you look at ours, and it's like okay,
12 unbeaten.
yeah. So yeah, no, I think as long as they keep thinking we're not going to do it, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
So
In some ways, I have to steel myself, Gary, and say that to myself as well, because when Tottenham were 2-0 up, I was like, blimey, City are horrible, and it should be a cakewalk. But I'm glad, almost in a way, I'm glad they got that win today, because it will not only keep Tottenham out of the top 4, maybe, in Europa League, but it will give us the knowledge that City are not going away, and we can't give up on this thing halfway through the season. As we said, we're not even halfway through the season.
no, not even halfway. So we get this. I mean, I think everybody else that's in the top 4 is halfway through the season. So we are no. He's had a plan. We didn't believe him. People are starting to believe him now.
I believed.
Yeah, I don't think you believe this is what he was going to do.
Nobody could tell. I won't tell you that I knew we'd be 5 points clear
Yeah,
at the halfway point, or 8 points clear.
yeah.
I'm never going to say that. I've never.
I know you said we weren't. You said we weren't contenders, right?
Nobody said we were contenders.
I fucking did.
What? I don't remember hearing
I
anything like that.
hosted that
A
fucking
contender
show.
to win the league?
Here he goes again.
Yes, I did. I said contenders for top 3 was my question.
Okay, that's
Well,
not
Arsenal.
contenders to win the league, though. That's a big. There's a big
Prediction.
difference to where we are
No.
today.
I said
Here we
contenders
go again, Stan.
to finish in
Contender
the
for top
3.
3 is what you just said.
Top
I
3.
get that. Top 3 doesn't mean challenging for a title.
Yes,
Tony,
it does. Yeah.
Arsenal will win. If Arsenal win the title, I won't care what you
What
predicted.
position did I say Arsenal
I don't
would
know.
finish?
I don't know. I'm not
2
going
weeks before we played Man United. I
EX
said
Scudder
we'd
did
finish
predict
second.
88 points though when we did the predictions podcast.
I heard somebody ask the question.
Yeah.
From this position, which if Arsenal were to be the first team to be at this position in the season, this big of a gap going into the start of the day, lose, not win the title.
We had
Wow.
that like two games ago.
Give me
Was
that again.
Not so at this no team at this point in a season with this point
That
with
was
this
2 games ago, Gary.
point difference, whatever it was.
Have ever lost?
Yeah,
Have
have
ever
ever
lost
lost
on
the
the
have
title?
ever lost the this
Yeah.
is
Have a,
which is one this is
hold on to it.
this is a start to a season which is still
That
is
was 16 games. Yeah.
That's a little bit though, like saying no team has ever won the league without scoring 70 points or something like that. Things change, don't they? The points get bigger, the gaps get bigger, players last longer, better
no,
players. It's a different beast, isn't it?
regardless, right? No team has done that. So does Arsenal want to be the first one? No, they don't want to be the first
No,
one. But if
no.
Arsenal is the first one, is
gonna
that
be
grounds for Arteta losing his job?
Just like we were the first team to score
Because
75
No, of
points.
course
and
it's
now-
not.
tell me
Of course it's not ground for him losing his
because
job.
of last season we had an opportunity to do fourth. We to get fourth we didn't. We failed on
Well,
that.
here's the thing,
Now
guys.
we're in a different
well,
situation where we have an opportunity to get to win the league.
We're overachieving.
Yeah, but here's
I
the
think
thing.
we're not
you think gonna
doing what's expected, right? We're not doing this is where we should be. This is where we all thought we are overachieving. So obviously, when you overachieve, targets change. But if we miss out on the league by a couple of points or whatever and finish in second place, of course I'll be fucking extremely gutted. But I think I'll be quite proud of Arsenal for making an achievement of finishing 2 seasons
Let's
at
not
8th
forget-
and coming second.
now. So with that in mind, right? With that in mind,
Okay.
how will Arsenal win the league in the future if they don't win it this way this season? When
Yeah,
this
listen,
is the best. This is like I said. You're saying that it's tough. It's difficult to even get to where we are today. So in the near future, right? Because we're trending that way. How we can't do better? You think we're gonna do this better than we're doing today?
Something similar happened. I'll
Still
go
win
first.
the league.
Yeah, I'll go first. Something similar happened to Liverpool. My special topic, right? Liverpool. They were 7 points clear around this time, 3 or 4 seasons ago, and
done
they
it 3
got
times.
90. They got 98 points, and they lost the league by 1 point. What did they do? They came back the next season. They didn't sack Klopp. They came back the next season and won game after game.
Who's those shot clock
and
with
won the
98
league.
points, right?
So, yes, Gary, this is going to be a great opportunity for us to go on and win the league. The way we're playing, the way we're gathering points together, and we should, at this point, with records say, with the points that we have and the lead we have, no team has not won the league at this point.
But no league has ever had Erling Haaland in it. So it's like,
that doesn't seem to make a difference.
It
We know
doesn't
that.
seem to
So
help them
having Haaland in the league
or
doesn't mean
hinder.
anything because we're seeing it right now. That it
he's
means
just having
nothing.
a nap.
How much
wake
do you
up.
think he's
You'll
gonna
wake
beat the
up,
Reds
man.
in
By
the
the time we
league,
play.
Stan?
Yeah, but it's only going to get tougher from here on out for
How many
everybody.
do you think he's
so,
gonna finish with,
yeah.
Stan?
I
Look how
believe.
many- come on, man. Look how many goals he scored already. Because he goes a couple of games without scoring. It's like, oh, he's fucking washed up. He's on
What do you
21,
think he's gonna finish
22
at,
goals
Stan?
now, for fuck's sake.
I also
It's
think,
unbelievable.
Stan, that
Where's our closest goal scorer?
having him in the team has hindered the way they played.
Oh, he's changed shit. Do you know what? I tell you what it reminds me of, right? It really does remind me of do you remember back in the day when Newcastle were making a big title challenge? They were playing everybody off the park, and then they just went one over, didn't they? They went out and invested money in Tino Asprilla, who was a fantastic player, much like Haaland.
Yeah.
But it changed the way that they played, the rhythm that they had
That was
going.
a January signing.
And they just lost out on the title, even though he was scoring goals and doing the business, right?
Yeah.
It
They
really
had
reminds me of
Ferdinand,
that.
they had Ginola, they had, I think, Beardsley at that time. Don Juan, we got to call this out.
Les
United
Ferdinand.
title charge ended after 4 days. That's funny. Gary, did we answer that scenario? Liverpool did it. They lost in a heartbreak. This team is young enough that they could go again. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But we're all going to be here in May, or probably it's June.
No, I mean, for me, that's why I believe that this January needed to be treated a little bit more like a summer window if the players were available. I
Yeah,
believe there
that's
are
the
players
tough one.
available that we could definitely
Quality,
use for a
yeah.
championship run. Yes, we don't. I still don't know if we're going to find a number 6,
The
but
quality of
I
players.
believe every other position is probably
Yeah.
multiple players we could look at
Yeah.
and bring in
I
to
would
help
like
us.
to get a midfielder. I'm going to say that now. I'd like to get a midfielder
Mm.
of some sort in January. Tony, you're sitting on a point. What do you got?
I was wanting to kind of go with what Stan said about points change and stuff. We're still the highest team to finish with points and not make the championship with 75 points. As the first year that Winger didn't qualify for the Champions League. Probably won't see that happen again because 75 is usually good for top 4. Always had been.
Yeah. Listen, I've got 75 as a benchmark. I'm looking at 90 now. We got to hit 90.
And he started at fucking 66. Way to go, right?
Hey,
You guys make it sound like we're all like planned for this. Nobody planned for a competition for
No.
47 points in 18 matches. Nobody.
Exactly.
Nobody.
I said to Gary on Sunday after the podcast, we could hit 50 points on Sunday. At the halfway point in the season, we could hit 50 points. And that's Centurions. I don't think we're going to be Centurions, but we'll be 90 somewhere. The 90, if you hit somewhere in the 90s, I think you're going to win the league here. We're going to win the league here.
I think high 80s will win the league.
Well, if City keep dropping points, yes. Let's hope we don't break another unwanted record then, says the assembled. Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Gary.
No, I was gonna say, yeah. I just don't want to be. We don't want to be breaking that record. And I mean, you want to use that. It's like for me that the being at where we are right now is having a sit in front of you and the goal open. You need to make you need to finish it off. So
I don't know what's more critical, getting a 6 or getting a center back.
you know what, they're both for me equally an issue for us. I think the 6 is the most critical because it protects the back line. So if you can have somebody protect the back line, then maybe you don't need to have a Saliba and Gabriel level players sitting there. But if you have somebody porous in front of them, then they're just going to get bombarded with attacks. So,
Newcastle did have a bigger gap in 95.
We definitely can't play a high line with Rob Holding on the team.
Yeah, but Tony, would you rather field a Rob Holding, and have we've brought in a better cover for Partey if Partey needs to be rested, or would you rather have a centre back and have Sambi Lokonga in that role if Partey's out? I'd rather have somebody a little bit better, I think, for Partey. I think it's a vital position.
Or and Lenny is probably more generous.
He's injured, isn't he?
Lenny's injured?
Yeah.
That's what. Yeah.
I like to see White played there, but we can't really move him out of the right wing right now.
Dan said, we have the best and loudest supporters in the league. The Togetherness is brilliant. The best I've seen it for years. And shout out to Nash Burton.
Out! Sorry. Just taking care of the help.
Newcastle.
Dude, you better, you know what? Sleep downstairs or in the couch or whatever they call it. And keep one eye open, please. I want you to see tomorrow. All right.
He knew what decibel level to keep that at.
No. She heard him. She knows exactly what he's thinking before he even said it.
Stan didn't want to receive my shirt this week. I'm disappointed.
It's not as loud.
What's wrong with you, Stan?
I'm happy with the level of your shirt. That level is perfect.
Yeah, this shirt's got a little. This shirt's got a little less contrast than the previous one.
Yeah,
isn't it?
This is like Hawaii.
It's still an Alfie Moon. It's still in the Alfie Moon collection, though.
If you want to see an Alfie Moon shirt, then check back probably a fortnight ago. It was two Thursdays ago.
Fierce shirt that was, Tony. Strong.
You'll need shades for it, though. You got to look at being champions this year. Exactly, Stefan. Seize the moment. Stan, we're not overachieving as this is what we're doing.
Maybe
Yeah,
okay, maybe overachieving
not
is
expected.
too strong because I don't want to sound like I'm sapping anything out of the good work that we've done. Raising expectations, is that another way of putting it? Because
I think that's a
I'm
better
not,
way
you
to
know,
put it.
I'm not
I was,
saying I'm not saying anyway that we've been lucky. No, I tell you what I'm going to say. We haven't played anyone yet.
So
What are you talking
you're-
about? We haven't played anyone yet. We've played everybody, man.
So you're all going to laugh at me because this is another Liverpool comparison, okay?
Oh, God, another one.
I'm full of it. I'm full of it. The Coutinho money. They got an Allison and they got a Van Dijk. We got a Zinchenko, a Jesus, and we got Saliba. Is that something similar to what we did to Liverpool?
Yeah, but they did it with selling a player. We did it without selling a player.
Correct, but we still did it. You know? And what I'm talking about, Tony, is the points difference. Liverpool got Allison in and Van Dijk and stopped conceding goals and started winning games.
That's what I'm worried about. I'm worried we'll go with Coutinho or out with Saka since we keep looking at all these fucking right wingers.
Okay.
Does
And,
that mean, I'm just trying to think.
that's our improvement this season, though, I think. Stan.
I was just thinking of
Bringing
centre backs
Saliba
there.
in, Zinchenko.
If we lost either Gabriel or Saliba, let's say we lost one of them, I think the next one's going to be Holding. But who's after Holding? Would it be a case of maybe using Tierney as a left centre back, or having to put Tomiyasu in there, or is there somebody else that I've forgotten about?
It'd probably be going.
Have I forgotten about anybody else? There's nobody else.
Probably
Tomiyasu
going with
would-
a back three, Stan.
Tomiyasu would be the emergency left centre and back.
Or
you know.
Tierney, right? It does it at international level. Not that
Yeah.
Scotland
Yeah,
go to
both-
the
both
not that
of them.
Scotland go to tournaments very often,
Yeah,
but
but
you
You
know.
know, I mean, that's
Both
what I
playing
mean.
center
Somebody
backs.
was saying, what players do we need, right? A number 6, a striker, and a center back are the easy answers for that, you know? Because
You just basically named a spine, didn't you?
well, that's what we
Innit?
don't have a backup spine now. I mean, when Jesus comes
yeah.
back, we have it at the top. We know when Jesus comes back, we know up top we're set, right? And Keita just needs to know his place, and then we're fine. But behind Partey and behind those center backs, we don't have comparable. You know, it doesn't have to be exactly the same quality, but we don't have somebody we feel comfortable that, you know what, we can go into, like go play Liverpool or play Man. And I guess we don't have to play Man United anymore, but play City and get something out of the game
Liverpool,
without
Newcastle.
one of those two players that about a number 6 or
The
a
big
center
ones,
back.
big ones we have coming up are City, Newcastle, and Liverpool.
I think we can
ways
squeak
to
by
go.
without investing in another centre back because we do have cover. But I do think that Thomas Partey, you know, and since he's been with us, he has had some injuries, hasn't he? He has, he has missed parts of the season. That's the next position I think that we should be focusing on.
Stan?
No. And if we have got any change after that, then I'm with Gary. Another forward, please. That I think, and then after that comes a centre back, right? And that might have to wait till the summer or some shit.
I'm gonna ask my question now, anyway, Stan.
Yeah, Tony.
That's right. I finished.
We don't want him interrupting, so we have to make him feel like he's involved in the conversation, right?
Why do we keep bringing him?
Do you go with a
People love him, Gary.
Partey
People love
backup?
him.
Or
Yeah,
do you
if Tony was in there, no one would fucking watch. So
do you go with a
we're
Partey
fucking snooker,
backup?
didn't we? Do you know what I mean?
Do you go with a Partey backup, or do you bring in Ndicka 6 months early and have a left back and a center back?
Partey backup or a left back, centre back. Okay,
Assembled as well. I keep forgetting, right? Ben White is a centre back as well. Forgot about. He's actually a centre back, right? He can slot in.
Stan, what
Tomiyasu.
Tony's asking is a CDM, central defensive midfielder, or a left centre back. What's the next?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I said Ndicka that can play left back or center back.
We're flush from left backs.
Versus a Partey backup.
Yeah, I mean, Tony, we've spoke about that guy for time, haven't we? Speaking about him for like what, 3 years ago?
Yeah.
Right. But I do think that right now, if it's a needs must, Thomas Partey has to have some decent cover, someone that can come in and there's not such a huge drop off because we see how vital he has become to the way that we're playing. Man's even fucking hitting the target as well.
That was a rocket last week.
That was
But-
really a nice shot.
Yeah.
But
So let's-
Stan, don't you think Ben White could play that position?
Yeah, but how many times have we had something like? I remember it was first of all, David Lewis. He can play there. He can play in that position. Callum Chambers. It never happens.
yeah,
It,
come on.
it never. It never happens.
How
And
many?
you know what? I don't like the fact that we're like going to weaken two positions.
Also, as well, right? You know why defenders are
I don't think
defenders,
it'll happen.
Tony, don't you? You know why defenders playing defense? Because they're not good enough to play in the midfield. Otherwise, they'd be playing in the
I think he
midfield.
could,
Trust
though.
me.
He's
Unless
good
you're
at
Ben
an
White or
attack on the
Zinchenko.
right.
Unless you're Ben White or Zinchenko.
Well, I'm just glad that you're fucking picking the team.
Let's talk about Partey, okay? I want to focus on two players, Zinchenko and Partey. Gary, 24 games.
Can
For season.
Zinchenko play in that position?
He could.
No.
Not at 5'6".
What does he play for the
I think.
Ukraine? He plays in the midfield, but is he deeper
Yeah.
in the midfield because he's a defensive?
If no Partey coverage comes in, we won't win it. I think that's the worry, Gary.
Hold on,
Well,
let's
is
go.
it-
Seriously,
we
hold
won't
on a
win it. We
minute.
won't win if he
Hold-
gets
I don't like those
injured,
little
right?
guys.
Hang on, lads. Rewind. Do we have an answer sitting in house in Zinchenko? Do
In
we?
midfield.
Yeah.
I don't
If
see
he's-
him.
if-
Any,
if,
I
you know,
don't see
push
him.
come to shove.
Yeah, I don't see him at a
Not going
level
to be your
like
enforcer.
we're not gonna. I just don't
He's
see.
defensive, right? He plays in
his
the midfield
talent
for
doing-
Ukraine. I don't watch his fucking
No.
internet, so I don't
He's
know
not
where.
defensive. He's not defensively good enough.
Yeah, I
Stan.
don't
No?
see. Yeah, I don't see him being able to
No.
not to be able to cover for a
And
Partey.
he's
We're
also
going to talk
5'6".
about Zinchenko in a minute. We're going to cover two players now, okay?
You know
Partey.
what? You know what? Now you just sorry.
Come on,
'Cause-
Ray. Let's talk about Zinchenko first.
No. What I was gonna say is
I'm the host.
if
You
El
have
Net,
Zinchenko's name first.
yeah. No, I was just gonna say
Doesn't
that the
matter.
problem I have with El Neni is he will not take the ball up the pitch, right?
That's
And
a
that's
myth,
one of the-
Gary. That's a myth. It's a myth. Don't fall for that trap. I've specifically been
Not-
watching
not-
on any
no,
right?
no.
And I was actually counting every time he moved the ball forward.
It's
I'm
not
like,
as
it's
bad
a
as you
myth.
think.
No, what
That's a
you
myth.
you're talking about when it's pretty easy to do. I'm talking about the things that Partey does when
Wow,
there's
come on.
defenders.
Yeah, he's not the
there's-
same. I know he's not
No,
the
no,
same
no, no,
player.
I'm talking
I
about
know
when
he's not
there's-
the same player.
when there's
I know he's not the
defenders
same player.
around him, and Zinchenko probably plays with defenders around him a lot more than El Neni does, and he feels comfortable with taking that ball up the pitch. Is what I'm about to say.
Yeah,
So that's why when you were talking about Zinchenko, I'm like, you might have a point because I feel like just because there's players around him, he won't feel as he'll be okay to make that turn because El Neni's not going to make that turn. You see it, yes, he does do it, but not when we need it. Like we need it sometimes when we got a little bit of pressure on us. He'll reset it back to the center backs, whereas like a Partey will just turn and go upfield with it
We'll
and break
do that.
and break lines with the
Or
ball.
turn us,
so
but
that-
find a split and pass, right? Without,
Yeah. And I think
I know what you're
Zinchenko
saying.
would do that more than El
He
Neni will.
do. Zinchenko
El
will do
Neni
it more.
keeps it safe, right?
Yeah.
But then sometimes we need somebody a little bit more, not necessarily daring, but be able to do the job a little better in the sense that
Yeah.
they're okay just because there's a guy on their back or close by to them that they could, protect the ball and move the ball up the pitch. And that's what we need to break down a defense. Because
Right.
he needs it to be perfect and then it's fine. But
Yeah.
sometimes we need to go and force this thing ourselves, or else we'll
But-
just continue going back to our back line and trying to get the
But
ball out of
talking
there.
about that, Gary,
Yeah.
what's Zombie good at doing? He's good at going forward.
But he doesn't. No.
He's good at
No.
going forward, is he not?
He's not breaking any lines with. He does. He's not. He's just as bad as El Neni to me.
How about moving? If let's say something happened to Thomas Partey, how about moving Xhaka into Thomas Partey's position and Zinchenko into Xhaka's position? Does that work?
But
Zinchenko
Xhaka to
can
what
play in
position?
Xhaka's
Yeah, we
position.
know. Xhaka, not Saka. Xhaka moves into Partey's
Xhaka-
position,
I think
Yeah.
Xhaka lacks the speed
and
to play that.
Zinchenko
Yeah.
moves into
I
moves
think
into
Xhaka lacks the
as a
speed to do
makeshift
it.
thing. Moves into where Xhaka
Yeah,
was.
but you'll
on that
get yellow
left-hand side.
cards. Xhaka
Huh?
will get yellow cards in that area of the field.
No, you know what?
No, Mikel Arteta will run on like a cheetah and sort it out.
No.
Where was that
Jacques,
fucking speed from
Man, it
Arteta
was a
during his
puma.
career at Arsenal?
Xhaka playing more defensively, I think, will take us back to where we didn't want to be.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
It's
I
like
know.
you know what? It's like cod liver oil is really good for you, and then they're like, but it makes me feel good, but I don't like it. And you're like, but no, I want it. No, you don't want it because remember the last time you
Wow.
had it, and you're like, no, it's good now. I know it's good, and then you taste it, you're like, oh crap, no, I don't want it. So no, I
Yes.
think
I
he's
was
fine.
just putting it out there.
Keep him further away from our back line for me, please.
Further away from our goal, the safer.
Yeah. He assembled here.
Ray, was that the fastest you ever seen Arteta run?
I've seen Arteta run, but not that fast.
The
He
best
never
is
ran.
the,
He
the
never ran
best
that
is the,
fast in an Arsenal kit,
the
did he?
best is the meme where you see him like hugging whoever he's hugging, and you see him like do this, and you see Xhaka go the other way, and he's like, "What?" And you see him take off.
You know what
Bionic,
that
mate.
is?
He was fucking.
You know what that is? You're out in the town with your mates, and you know one of your mates is going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
And you're
Yeah.
No,
not.
Ray, leave it. He's not worth it.
You take off after and try and get him out of trouble. You know what I
That
mean?
reminds. Can I tell a story?
Yeah, I'm going to leave. You tell a story.
Oh, I was going to leave as well.
I'll be right back in a second. You want to
I'll be
leave,
right
Dad?
back as well. I'll be right back because someone's calling me.
Tell the story, Tony.
Okay. One time I'm sitting here at a bar. It's four more of us, so there's 5. But there's 7 guys that were picking on this littlest guy in the group. And everybody else in our group had headed out the door. But I was walking back in there against the 7 guys as at a pool hall. I was looking at the first full stick to grab, and needless to say, I had to be dragged out.
Oh, Tony. Yeah, no. You know what?
How much?
I do like Jacques' fire now because as he's a little bit. I just like to say he's not in that situation where he's out on the he's playing the razor's end edge, where he's gonna blow any moment. So it's good to see it when we need it because we definitely need it. We need it sometimes, especially like in the Newcastle match and stuff like that. And against Manchester United, it's going to come up.
And
Unless we are controlling the match, and it doesn't really matter. But no, he needs to stay. I need him more focused on going forward. And
that's why I like Gabriel. He's been doing that enforcing type stuff.
Yeah, no, but and he, as many people have said, he is he's been a pleasant surprise for us, right? I mean, everybody said he's the wild one on the back line. He's actually probably, the mainstay and the senior player in that back line as far as what
Who's
we
that?
need out of him, Margalez. So
Yeah, listen,
he's
it's been inspirational, especially
Yeah.
away from home. Lisa said making signings is brilliant, but we also need the right players in. Also, we need another 2, possibly 3 more. We wanted to buy 1 player at 90 million and brought 1 at 27. Yeah, do the math. It does leave 63 for 2 players. My fear is that we're going to fill up squads. We're going to clog up the squad with players that are not of the quality that we need. That's what
I think there are players that we need. You're not going to find you're not going to find the players that what players you're not going to find a players like Mudryk is just overpriced, right?
Sure.
Trossard is right where we need. We have a starting 11, so
Yes.
it's not like we need starters, right?
No, but you have a player. You bring a player in now in January. You don't have room then in the summer.
That's fine. Well,
God.
and the problem with that is what? You fill
wanna
a hole
buy
earlier than
better
later.
Players, the better players become available in the summer.
What we're gonna change our starting 11?
No,
So that's what I mean. So you're gonna spend more money on a player that
but we're going to rely on those
Trossard is
players.
going to cost you 27 no matter if he had 18 months left on his if he had a
6
year
months.
left on his contract. No, if he had a year left on his contract, you probably wouldn't feel that bad about spending the 27 on him. All right? I mean, people were okay with Zaha and it would have been around in that 20 range, right? And and Trossard's got better stats than him. So it's not like we're not bringing a player that has better at least output than what we've looked at in the past, right?
The way I look at it as well, Gary, if you see Liverpool or Tottenham, let's say, or United picking up a player like Trossard.
We have
Wouldn't
breaking news.
wouldn't we have been like, damn, why couldn't we have done that? You know
Can
what
we
I mean?
do the breaking news?
Breaking news, go for it.
Yeah, Alonso is too drunk to join.
That's not breaking news. That's not breaking news.
I mean,
It
it's
is for
news to
Alonso.
me.
Alonso's
We're talking like we're
level-headed guy.
talking like transfer rumors here, and you're talking about some guy having a drink.
That's breaking news with Alonso being too
Alonso.
drunk.
All right,
to
we'll
join
get
us.
to it. We'll get to it. Stefan said, listen, I think players will come and there will be matches. We're going to be playing Champions League. We're going to be playing Premier League. Next season, it's going to go up another notch, Gary, because we're going to be in the Champions League.
Yep.
And we're going to have to navigate groups. We won't win every game. I'm going to tell you that now. In the Champions League, teams do not win every game. But what they do is they navigate their group so that they top the group and have the best seeding for this time of year. We want to be here in 12 months from now talking about Champions League final stages.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's where we want to be. I'll take
I
the
have a
Premier
question
League
based off
this
that.
season and the Champions League next season.
All right, I'm back. Did
Saliba
I miss Tony's story?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't. Let's not go
gutted.
back there. This is
Gutted.
It was a good
Absolutely gutted.
It was like, when you have crab cakes and
I'll watch it on replay.
you have really good, when you have crab cakes then you have really good crab. Well, Tony was the filling, the little breadcrumb stuff. The filling.
Yeah.
Ray, I have a question though.
Yes.
Wouldn't our squad do pretty good in the Champions League?
I think so.
Not win it.
This season?
Oh.
I think we would.
Yeah, it'd definitely be a quarterfinal team.
I mean, you look around
If not
Europe
better.
now. You look around Europe, and we probably have the best competition within our own league.
I want us to win this competition, the Europa League.
Yeah,
Just to be a complete, for the completionist in me, that'd be brilliant. Imagine that though, players like Saliba,
Premier League first,
ESR, Saka, Martinelli, and even Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko and other players winning the Europa League. It just gives you a taste. You say like, this is what I achieved with these guys around me. We can go on to the next level, guys. We can all do it together. That's how they talk. There'd be so much belief.
Let's get through a few comments and get caught up here. Dan said Saliba said in the interview, we would rather be top and have pressure than to be bottom and have pressure. What pressure? He said, no pressure on us,
He's not signed he's turned down has he been presented with a new contract and that's not gone down? So there's another one coming or something like that, right?
Yeah, there's still time.
He got the contract extension, one of those 12-month deals like Zaka had him.
There's nothing wrong in that. I'm not worried about that. You always got to try and get the best deal that you can for
Same
yourself,
thing
right?
with Saka. We triggered one with Saka as well.
Tommy White and Tierney can play centre back. White will have to cover, I'd say, Stan. I suppose it will depend on the side that we're playing. Let's go Arsenal. Big up Bargav.
And I think Martinelli said all about his contract. All I need is a pen. I'm like, what? Eddie's not got a pen, and I've got a pen. Here you go.
I sound like Tony Adams, who never needed to read a contract. He signed each and every contract. Daniel said the only thing is there is not many players in the world who can play like Thomas Partey. Exactly. Think Arsenal know that and think they will go for Rice in summer, but it will be hard to get with Chelsea sniffing. I feel we're going to know about a player's sporting ambitions between Chelsea or Arsenal. It's clear. If you want to win things right now, it's with Arsenal. If you want to get paid pretty well right now, it's with Chelsea. And Declan Rice has said he's ambitious and he wants to win things. We'll see what happens with Declan Rice. But
I don't know how Chelsea could afford him with financial fair play.
Can I ask you guys a question? How good do you think compared to Thomas Partey, Declan Rice is? Do you think they're on the same level? Is there a drop off?
No,
they play the position totally different. I mean,
The good thing is though is that because Partey's what, about 30 now. So if you bring in a Declan Rice who's what, 24? Is he 24? It's a good transition for him to be around Thomas Partey, be learning, and at some point be the heir apparent. Is that how it would work? But is somebody like Declan Rice going to be happy playing second fiddle?
Or you can play them together, and Declan can play a little further higher up, just like Xhaka does. But against a big team, say we're in the Champions League, right? You're playing against
Real Madrid.
Real Madrid, right? And you
Have them
have
both on and
Declan
have them
Rose,
both deep.
right? Well, you're gonna need
What
to,
we have, we
right?
hold. Yeah, what we have, we
So
hold. Yeah.
and it's not necessarily that you're playing defensive, but you are playing defensive because they are
Yeah.
much better going forward than most teams in the world, or every team in the world, right? So
So what's the
and he
price
can
on the
learn from
Declan
him in
Rice then?
that respect,
80,
right?
80
£80
million
million, something like that.
easily. Yeah,
Yeah.
easily. Even though I don't believe he's signing any more contracts, he might have 1 year left. It's still going to cost a pretty penny for Declan Rice. I think he's probably one of the better English players in that position.
What
Probably
about the other one, Milinka
outside-
Savic?
who?
What's his name? Sergei Milinka Savic.
Milinkovic-Savic. I never really liked the idea of Italian players coming to the Premier League. It's never really.
It is Italian, but
Is he Italian? Don't sound Italian with that name.
Yeah, but in the Italian league, you know what I mean?
Italians are great defenders, right?
Tony, Italians. This is a fucking mob.
Tony, the shirt.
Tony's shirt. Hey, what are you going to do with that guy? Tony the shirt. Tony's
Hey,
shirt. You know that guy.
Tony. Hey, Tony, the shirt.
Hey, there he is.
Good fellas. He's one of the good fellas.
What am I here to fucking amuse you? What am I, a clown?
Why
the
don't
fuck is not funny
Arsenal try
about
to
me?
get Messi from Barcelona on loan as cover for Partey? Yeah, exactly. Xhaka is better facing the opposing goal, not our own goal. I think that's been the unlocking of Granit Xhaka is take him away from the danger zone, take him away from the demolition zone. You know, we don't want him doing karate kicks up at Anfield in that left back position. Ray said, "I don't understand. Xhaka was there when Richarlison was poking Ramsdale, but in the next clip we saw Xhaka racing to the instrument. He gets around that Xhaka." But yeah, I thought Arteta did the right thing and got him out of there. You know, he can blame for a lot of things, but I think he did the right thing there.
The only thing that was missing when Arteta was running is that I want to see someone do a gif of him running, but with a big, gigantic butterfly net in his hand.
Well, he was doing. Yeah, I saw
one of those like 6 foot
huge
ones.
fucking nets.
I saw a video of somebody putting butterflies on the sideline for the Newcastle VAR decision where we didn't get that penalty. Like he was swatting butterflies there. Hell on to Xhaka playing Partey's position. He is starting to fall off playing where he is now, which is hurting Martinelli. Xhaka has not been the same since Jesus got hurt. I think there's something in that, Stephen. Xhaka has not been the same since before the World Cup. Maybe
I thought somebody was saying Martinelli hasn't been the same without Jesus.
Well, he's dropped.
But the difference in that was we haven't had Zinchenko.
He's gotten a couple of goals.
Came back.
So
Martinelli's
are we
again.
going to talk about Partey and Zinchenko really quickly, or are we going to bypass that?
You're a fucking host, Ray.
That's aggressive, wasn't it, Ray? Fuck it up.
No, I'm asking the question. It's all right.
Let's
Gary,
talk about Zinchenko.
Okay, Tony. Obviously, Tony's running this show.
Hey, what are you going to do?
All right, talk about Zinchenko, Tony. Start it off.
I like Zinchenko. His winning mentality is one thing that's really helped us this year. I would like to see him play further up the pitch. But I don't think we're going to get to see that. You might get to see our new signing play there, where Zaka's been playing.
So you think Zinchenko could play in that Xhaka role?
Yeah.
Because they say, innit, remember when we were buying him, they said he plays in defence a lot for, fucking Man City. But, he plays in midfield a lot for the Ukraine. But I never see him play for the Ukraine. So I'm not sure where it is he plays in the midfield. What is he? 8, 6? A player that's in between that?
He can play both for him.
Hold on. We have breaking news. Hold on. Alonso's here. 5 minutes later, breaking news.
Hello there. Don't spoil it, BX Gunner. I'm watching it tonight. Tulsa King. Don't spoil it. Great show.
Yeah, listen, I think Zinchenko could be the key to what we've been doing this season. I think he's
But no one's
vastly
answered me. Where does he play in midfield then? Where does he? Because he kind
Why-
of tucks in a lot anyway, right? So do you know what I'm getting at?
It's that inverted
Give me a
midfield.
He's
second.
basically
Brad.
playing in midfield anyway.
Give
Do
me
you
a
know
second
what I mean?
and
He
I'll
plays two
pipeline
positions.
before you where he plays for Ukraine. Give me a
Doesn't
second.
really matter where he plays for Ukraine. We're talking
Yes,
about.
it does. Stan asked the fucking question, so it matters. Stan
Thank you,
wants
Tony.
to
What
know.
are you?
Him. All right.
Man, he's got your back, Stan.
What are you gonna do? This guy, you know.
Yeah.
Don't mess with Tony the shirt.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see him being able to. He's good where he is. It's like he's got his position. So why are we going to change it now?
Yeah, but we're
Right.
talking about just in a break glass situation. You know, if something happens, you know what I mean. Just is there anything within? And as I said, he's basically playing in two positions anyway. I reckon what happened was we bought Zinchenko and then we took him to a laboratory and cloned him. And there's two of him because he's playing in two positions every match.
Yeah.
And it works so well. You know, all of a sudden we can overload the midfield and have an extra body in there. And it kind of sets the other team on the back foot a little bit.
Central mid, attacking mid, central mid, attacking mid, center forward, central
Question
mid.
for Gary:
central
does
mid.
our new signing walk into the first 11? I don't see the point of by backup players who are not quite the level we need. No more Cedric's holding.
No, I mean, I just we don't need a starters,
Well-
you know. And if we're
Well,
getting
Gary-
starters, if we're getting starters, good. But we don't need starters, right? We need depth,
Here's-
and we need players that can compete and be comparable to what we already
Yeah,
have.
but here's one thing, Gary, that you know. I would just want to let the assembled know.
Can I not
Martinelli-
answer
hold
Stan's
on
question?
a second. Martinelli has the same stats as Trossard, the
Dragging
same
in,
goals and the same assists. So, you know, Trossard is given the same production as Martinelli. You might not say he's the same player, but he's getting the same production.
Yeah.
Tony.
To answer Stan's question, he usually plays central mid or an attacking midfielder.
So maybe in that left half space then. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, just only a couple times as left midfielder and only once as left back.
If Arsenal win the Premier League, that makes them one of the favorites for Champions League.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I mean, just to back up on that, if we buy players that can start, so be it. But I don't think it's not like for me, like Trossard. Nobody said he's coming in to start, right?
I want to be surprised at all to
But
see
he
him start.
competes. He can compete for a starting position
Mhm.
and push our players, which is the key thing to everything, right? And he's
Yes.
better. Like we keep improving each player that we bring in, right? I don't like I said. That's why I didn't like the Marquinhos deal because he doesn't improve us, right? Fabio's supposed to improve us, but we haven't seen it yet. But most of the players we brought in have been better than somebody on the squad. Yeah, Marquinhos was definitely a wild card, and we spent money on that, right? We spent money on a free player for some. So there's some other player, I guess, that we're looking at. But no, I'm fine bringing in players. If they don't start for us, then that's fine. But if they can push the starters, that's what we're looking for, right? And if they're better than what we've got, that means they're pushing other players to the bench more often than not. So,
Don, while I agree with you, about time Arsenal got that Champions League. We want to see it. We want to see it in the next few years. Hopefully, we're coming into a window, a cycle, as we said earlier, where we're going to be in the ascendancy, and we need to buy the right kind of players and the decent players that can take us to that level. You know, I think Zinchenko has been a revelation for us in terms of the way Arteta's used him. You know, this season.
Yeah,
Good
I just
point there
like to
by
see him
Daniel
straight
Hartley.
as an attacking midfielder for us, though, instead of
Good
left
point there
back
by
as
Daniel
much.
Hartley, who's it's his first evening in here. Probably
His
his last,
debut.
probably his last as well. But he makes a good point.
he's
He makes a
sticking
good
around.
point before he leaves us in the rearview mirror for podcasts in
Zinchenko.
Pastures New about Zinchenko. And that's exactly what he's doing at the moment, and it's working for us. It's quite sneaky.
Yeah, Zinchenko's quality, technically so brilliant. He drifts into midfield for us and suffocates the opposition when we are in possession and other teams are pressing. He's great. I also remember early doors against Tottenham, he could have passed backwards in the left back position but he beat the press and played the ball quickly into Xhaka's feet. I think Zinchenko is playing on the front foot, and the team plays on the front foot.
Yeah, that one time he ran with a ball for about 60 yards, just sprinted up with it.
Yeah. So Zinchenko, I think I remember my brother-in-law, who's a City fan, telling me he's a great player and he left City because he wanted to play like Gabriel Jesus. But City fans they've missed him, what he brings them as well. A little bit suspect defensively, but I think we've all played on the front foot this season and we've benefited. Arteta's made us
Front foot, back foot. Come on, Ray.
well, we've played progressively. Let's say that.
Let's
We've
leave
gone
feet and legs out of it.
we've
Ray.
gone all out for wins, and we lost. We lost at Old Trafford because we did throw caution to the wind and got caught a couple of times. But I think we've won far more games than we've lost because we. I think Arteta probably realizes the value of 3 points. You know, Gary, 3 wins. 3 draws is just 3 points, but if you get 1 win, it's 3 points. If you get 2 wins, it's 6 points. You know.
That is true. That's some good math skills you got there, Ray.
But it's the value of going for it. I'm not going to give you that another question.
Well, no, I
When
just want to make
lay
fun of
me
you.
up
That's
like
why I
that.
did that. But no,
You
no,
just-
no. You know what? That is true. But you look at some games, you're like, well, why aren't we trying to get the 3 points, right? Do you not have the answers somewhere? And he's telling us he doesn't. So hopefully these changes allow us to do that. So
Yeah.
I don't know if I answered your question, but
Tony, are we misunderstanding right? Am I misunderstanding right? Probably. But shouldn't we be buying players that are better than what we have
It
already?
should be a mix because we lack the depth.
Well,
you don't want to
need
buy
better
players that
quality.
are worse than players you have. Come on.
No, we want to buy better than we have. Listen, I would say to you, assembled,
It's called upgrade.
is Trossard better than Marquinhos?
Yes.
There
Is
you
he better
go.
than Reece Nelson?
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
So
that's an
there you go.
improvement.
He fits in
already.
perfectly because his stats basically put him with our top
Is
5
he
attackers
better
that
than
we have.
Eddie and Kedia?
Possibly.
His stats are up there with Martinelli, so there's no drop off there. I mean, listen, he's going to be coming into a team. We've all seen that this team has really got a big togetherness. They're like this family, aren't they? Everyone's on the same page. He's walking into this great atmosphere, and it's infectious. It's going to be very infectious.
All right.
He's going to make some friends very quickly, and he's going to want to be a part of things.
Mhm. Shout out to Daniel. He will be back again. Stick around. We're going to be here for a little bit longer. We do shows also on Sundays at 7 p.m. UK time. We will be playing a Kahoot quiz, which is a little bit of fun as well. And as a branch off from this channel, Gary does his thing as well on Monday nights. So I'll
Saturday mornings and
I'll put
various other
links.
shows.
I'll put links to all of that.
In case you're not aware, Daniel, we're all from we all live in North America. I live in Vancouver, and the other 3 guys are living over in the United States, hence the times. But thanks for coming by.
Definitely assembled. Okay. Any other points on Zinchenko, and we'll get to Partey? No?
Winning mentality helped us tremendously.
Yeah.
Him running forward with the ball helped us a lot. That's why we've been using basically 7 players as attackers. Basically only 5 defenders if we're even using that many at times.
Yeah, and the way we've used Zinchenko on the left and Ben White on the right has really changed the way we played in midfield as well with that inverted. But it all comes from the back. If you have solid base, Ben White, Saliba, and Gabriel, especially at the back, and Partey, that triangle really allows Zinchenko to move forward as well. I think we're going to look back at Zinchenko as being one of the keys if we have success at the end of the season with a trophy. All right, Partey, Gary, 24 games in the last 2 seasons. We want him to get into the 30s in terms of games in the league.
You're trying to jinx us. You keep bringing that number up.
I know I do. I know.
I know you keep bringing it up, and I'm like, stop bringing it up.
All right. Well, I will. I will
There's
not
always
say
one,
it
Gary.
again.
There's always
Yeah, nah. You know what?
One thing.
That's why it's crucial, as most people have said. We need to bring somebody in. He's doing well, and he needs to be coming off games, and with El Neni out, that's going to be tough now. That's going to be a challenge. So I don't
How
know.
serious is that, Gary? Do you know what it is even? I just heard he was injured. What is it?
I don't know where the injury is. I don't know what the
Tony?
I have
Tony, you're the
Tony?
you're the injury guy.
Oh,
Man.
look! I
Have a
got
look
the
for-
injury. I have the injury table thing here, so let's see what it says.
Where's who's?
El
or-
Neni just says a knock. It says he should be back in 3 days.
Would you bump into a
So,
coffee table or something?
He's 50-50, so it might not be anything.
Okay.
I think
I
it's
know.
just
Yeah.
a muscle bruise.
Partey is the one thing the rival fans are clinging on to.
Yeah.
we
And
don't
I know
have-
Reese Nelson. I thought they just showed pictures of him practicing, right? So
Yeah, I think
So-
it's
I
supposed
saw a
to be
video
2
of Gabriel
months.
Jesus today doing some ball work, which is always nice
Yeah.
to see.
oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Did not see that.
Good.
Football,
well,
that is.
Listen, I think for Gabriel Jesus, we still have to think about March. For March, Mandalorian comes back in March, so Gabriel Jesus, this is the
Are you
way.
trying to
This
say
is the way.
this is the way,
You
right?
beat me to it.
That's a plug for the show. There you go.
What's our show or Mandalorian?
Oh, anything, but it's open to interpretation, Tony.
Yeah.
Yeah, Partey has been brilliant.
Your
and
shirt notwithstanding.
I thought the high five that he did with Granit Xhaka getting him a little bit out of trouble in the North London derby, and Partey is going to be immense. Any words on Partey before we get into the preview of the United game?
He's the critical cog there.
Irreplaceable. People say just go out and find the player that you can. If he's injured, you can put him in there. I don't think there's that player.
I still love the way that we just flew to
No,
Spain and just stole
like
him like
saying go
thieves in the
out-
night. Just like
Yeah.
carpet
Ninja.
bagged him. They woke up in the morning and there's like an empty bed in the dormitory. They're like, where's Thomas? Anyone seen Thomas? It's like,
He's not as good a player as Vieira is, but he's just as integral as a player as Vieira was.
It's
still
too
probably,
early.
and I think as well, because of Thomas Partey's position, I don't know how long is he 30? I don't know how long he's been 30.
Yeah.
There was a time when there was the myth, wasn't there, that 30 was a cut-off point. It was like Logan's Run. You turn 30 and then you have to
Arsene
go into
Wenger.
that thing, spin up in the air and get destroyed.
That was
Laser
Wenger
beams.
who would do that. He was very resistant to giving more than I think 1 year contracts after the.
He would on midfield,
But
but he
I
wasn't
think-
really anywhere else.
I think where we are now, a player like Thomas Partey still has another good couple of years in there. Good couple of years to go,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah. Okay. Partey. Listen, I'm going to stop talking about 24. Right. I'm not going to say 24 anymore for Partey. Right. Coming up, we got City versus Wolves. We're not quite into the previews. We're going to do the Man United game next. City Wolves. I think City might have a tricky game at Wolves, but we'll skip past that one for now. And
No.
Yeah.
Tony,
Can we go back to the one I would have picked up points on yesterday, Ray? You asshole.
Was yesterday's match part of the picks?
no.
No,
There you
I
go. then.
would have went for it because I always go for Palace at home.
But you'd have been cheating because it's against
You know
the
what?
rules,
Don't talk to our host like that. You be nice. All right.
Well,
Tony,
yesterday,
Tony, if my aunt had nuts, she'd be my uncle. You know what I mean?
It's not even a complete week. Midweeks
Oh, you would've-
games,
you would've
right?
won-
He's always
yeah.
point shaving, isn't he? Hey,
You would've-
typical mob guy, point shaving.
We were talking about the Palace game earlier. Did you went? Were you not there?
You
mean?
mentioned it for a second, then I guess you went back to it.
We mentioned it for quite a few minutes. Yeah, go ahead, quick. What are you going to say, Tony?
I said I would have picked up points. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Woulda, shoulda, coulda.
It's your fault you don't let us pick the fucking midweek games.
It's not. Those were makeup. That was a makeup game. I don't.
There's
I
like
don't know
two
why.
games for fuck's sake. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
I
2
don't
games.
know why.
I'm
I,
up
What's your pick
man.
going to be? Oh, it's 2
I
games.
like
Oh,
David
yeah.
De Gea. Gary, I don't know why Man United had to play Crystal Palace. Was it because of the Europa League?
I don't know. Some people were asking why we didn't play at least our Everton
Yeah,
match or something like that.
Keeps
Because
us fresh, though, for weekends.
no, it
we're
does.
fresh.
It's
We're
good for it's
fresh.
good for us. But it is a game we could have.
Yeah, he's
I
always
don't think
fucking me
Everton
over
played
with
this
Selhurst
week
Park.
midweek. So
All right, we have one. We have a rest. We have rested for this week.
Well, hold on a minute. Hold on. Breaking news.
oh no.
Leandro Trossard seen in ice cream parlor with Todd Bowley in West End
With
of
Todd
London.
Bowley.
I joke. Wouldn't surprise me though.
We digress.
Shades of Ashley Cole, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Man United, Tony. Let's talk about some of the matchups. So Casemiro is not going to be in there.
That's right. And one death, wasn't it? Her Majesty's death. The game was rearranged. That's why.
It. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
That whole weekend has been rearranged,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure how the United had to play against Crystal Palace. So, but anyway, I'm not worried about them. I'm worried about Arsenal. All right, Tony. I was never really worried about Man United. Man United fans were getting gassed about, title challenge on Sunday. Now this is going to be a game we all remember, right? If you're old enough and you follow Arsenal, you remember games against Manchester United.
Fuck.
Yeah, I think we've all four. Of
We're
us
old
have
enough.
been-
I fucking hated them days, man. I'm telling you.
I hate fucking
The
Man
amount of times
United.
where I used to walk around and think to myself, if you could invent a magic wand and just wave it, and Man United had never existed and they just disappeared.
You
Look
don't
how many
miss the
titles.
games
Look how
we
many
had, though?
titles. Tony, look how many titles we would have won. How many titles we would have won if we could just do a Thanos and make them never have existed. They always, managed to pip us. We were always the bridesmaids, and we used to play some great football. We missed out on some titles, and there were times when they surpassed, in a way, Tottenham as the enemy, because Tottenham were no problem.
Way
to us,
overplayed them.
they were like a training exercise, and then you went on to Man United for the war.
But you don't miss that rivalry stand, even though they fucked us out of probably 4 or 5 more titles.
I just remember when I think back to those days when it was really, the Arsene Wenger and Sir Alex Ferguson days. I as fun as it was, I do feel quite a lot of pain because, as I said, there were so many times, man, when we were finishing second to them. It just hurts that how many titles we may have had if we could have Thanos them away. It is what it is.
Stan, we had our licks against them as well. We beat them at Old Trafford. We won the title up there. We were invincibles when they were around.
See, I've always said that it's a really good team that wins the title, but it's a great team that retains it, and that's something that I really want to see Arsenal do.
We want to do that in the next few years, definitely. Mark Overmars is going to Old Trafford, winning
beautiful.
the game. We won 12 games in a row to get past them.
Mark Overmars was relentless that day. How many shots and chances did he have? And he never gave up, and then he got it right at the end. He was a thorn in their side all game.
Yeah. And Tony, what can we do Sunday? Where are we going to get joy? Andy Samble said, do you think anything other than a win against United is acceptable? They beat us without Casemiro, don't forget. We're in a title race, and if we pick up points, even as hurtful as it sounds, we get a draw and we win the league. I'm not going to really look back at this Manchester United game and say we should have beaten them, but love to beat them, of course. They beat us at Old Trafford.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good game, but I still think we got the attack and we got the defense. It's hard to get past Saliba and Gabriel. You just have to hope that one of them doesn't make a mistake. That's the only way we lose, I think, is somebody getting a silly penalty or silly red cards. Only way I see us losing.
Stan, I think the biggest matchup could be, as you said earlier, Rashford versus Ben White. or Saliba?
Well, he's
Yeah.
reborn. Rashford seems reborn now that they've moved on CR7, and the team is now being able to play in a more natural way and not try and feed everything through one guy. You know, it's freed them up a little bit. But as we mentioned before, I can't remember who it was. It was either yourself or Gary that was saying that, you know, they're a little bit, maybe Man United are a little bit where we were a couple of seasons ago, where they're still going to be, you know, a little bit of a jack in the box and stumble in games, you know.
Yeah.
And maybe that's something that we're clinging to a little bit, because it's such a vital time for us now. But I have every confidence that, especially that this is a home game, that we can get something out of this game. And I just hope that the referee doesn't want to make himself, you know, the leading actor in this performance.
Anthony Taylor, I believe.
You know, I just hope that, you know,
Yeah.
where's Anthony Taylor from? Just remind everybody. Where's he from?
Manchester area.
He's from Manchester, yeah. Oh, okay.
Gary, Ben White has pocketed a lot of players on that left wing throughout the season. Zaha, Son, Luis, right? He's going to be up against Rashford, him and Saliba. I feel quite comfortable though. You got Ben White and Saliba, probably the strongest part of our defense.
I think we're fine. I think we, like I said, we can compete with anybody, especially United. So we'll be fine there. They have to contend with our attacking front as well, right? Saka is. I mean, who do they have? You know, so it's going to be equal attacking prowess that's going to happen there. So yeah, I think. And it's our stats show that, you know, we pretty much will shut down anyone, you know, and we need to come out fast like we have before, smack them in the mouth, and keep the crowd in the match, and then take it and then continue on. So
I also think that cool heads are going to prevail, and you know somebody like Gabriel Megalegs, you know, he probably understands the history of what goes on, and you can see that he buys into stuff. You know, somebody like him, you know, cooler heads. You know.
Yeah. I mean, if you watch the end of that match, right, against at the toilet bowl, I mean, it was Margules that was basically like shielding Ramsdale while he was going to get his water bottle.
Right? Yeah, and there's lots of times he's going to officials. He was very vocal. Vocal to the defense, telling everybody to get in position.
And even after he got,
yelling at Zinchenko, yelling at Saliba to get in position.
Daniel said, I miss Man United Arsenal rivalry. They were the best games. Vieira versus Keane. Hopefully we're not going to see Casemiro and Partey. We hopefully will get some rivalries going. The rivalry with United is interesting, as I believe it was the last time the Busby Babes played their final league game versus
Garnacho. Who's their dangers now? Garnacho is a danger.
Garnacho, the young kid, he's raw.
And Anthony can do bits now and then, can't he? He's not set the world alight there yet, but
what scares me is Eriksen and Fernandes. They're able to find players.
Yeah.
They've got quality that they can combine and hurt us. And Weghorst is probably going to be the focal point of their attack. So they're going to.
You think he'll start? Is that how that works?
I think he may. He started against Palace. I don't know.
But, with what? Where's Rashford on the right?
Rashford on the left.
Left. Who's on the right?
It was Anthony. I think started out with Anthony on the right. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if they're going to try to hit us with some crosses and see how we are in the air. Weghorst is going to be a handful as well, but that's the attacking part of United. I'm quite comfortable we can hold them to at least one goal, if not keep a clean sheet. Eriksen and Fernandes. You talked about Gabriel Magalhaes being a red card possibility. I think Bruno could get actually very wound up in this game. We could wind him up.
Sorry, Tan, go on, mate.
I don't see Gabriel getting a red card. He only has 2 yellows for the season.
Well, we're talking about this is going to be an emotional game. If City beat Wolves just before us, There's 2 points between us and City.
The Spurs game was same thing.
Yeah,
Not
but
a
this
state,
is a
man.
better team. This United are a better team than
We
Spurs.
played
Curry's
we
saying
played Newcastle. I mean, they're a better team. I
Yeah.
think we've had more than enough challenges where they're not going to be surprised by the moment and by the quality of the opponent.
Right. Rashford have to go on our left side because White and Saliba is going to be too strong for him. It's possible, Ray, that Rashford could go to the right side. He'll try and pick the
Listen,
weaker areas.
anyway, listen, we all know how it's going to go down, right? On 60 minutes, right? The card's going to come up from the sideline, right? And Trossard is going to come on. And it's just going to be
It's
like
just-
Billy. It's just going to be like Billy
Ask
Wiz, mate.
Tony. Ask Tony if 60 minutes is okay.
It's going to be like
That's what
Billy
I said to
Wiz.
start with. Gary said 70.
I didn't
I
say
said-
anything
said
about a
that.
time.
I
Well,
said 70.
Ray said 70. I said 60.
You know when you
I
see
just
those
said,
you
you
know
know,
when you see
I
those
said it.
rodeos, right? And the horse is in that box before they open the thing, and it's in the box, and it's that's Trossard on the bench, mate. This weekend, I'm telling you now.
Those are
He scores
usually
against
Bulls
big
doing
teams.
it. I love watching the Cowboys get in there. Hardly
What
any
happens in a
move at all.
situation? What
The
happens in a
Bulls taking them
situation
all
where?
around.
What happens in a situation where, let's say, on Sunday, at some point in the game, Martinelli comes off, Trossard comes on, he bags a goal and an assist, for example, and then the same happens maybe in the next game. He comes off the bench, Trossard, and does something. I mean, you have to start saying, you have to look at nobody's place is set in stone. As much as we love the players because we call them our own, they're not. Martinelli's place is not set in stone. And as
Yeah,
much
but
as I love
Lord.
Saka, his place is not set in stone. He's the harder one to shift because he's got, Saka
But-
has got a
look,
lot of fucking talent. He's the harder
Martinelli
one to
has
shift.
scored. He scored against West Ham. He scored against Brighton.
Yeah, yeah.
Martinelli has scored this.
But no
last
place should be
goal.
set in stone. Neither is Eddie's.
Sure.
You
I
know,
mean, that's
Saka's the
gonna
hardest
be-
one to shift because he's the most
got
consistent
quality.
for us at the moment. But if form dips and somebody comes in, I mean, look at Eddie at the moment. He's coming and he's picking up the slack. And if he continues to produce, I'm not one of these people that is like in 10 games time and that, yeah, just take him out now and put Gabriel in because he's better.
I don't think
If
it'll be
if somebody's earned their place and they're producing, for me, the player that's coming back from injury or suspension, they have to work their way in. At some point, he will have to come in for Eddie because Eddie will need rest or rotation, and that's when you say, "I'm stamping my place back in now."
Yeah.
I'm like that. I do not believe that you just ease someone back in because of who they are and whatever. If the person that's covering for them is going through a purple patch.
I don't know. Well,
Why don't you know? Tell me.
Arteta gets. I don't know because I'm not going to make those decisions. Arteta's
Oh.
going to make the decisions. He's going to have a squad to pick from, and he's going to decide if Martinelli starts the next game.
I
Or
mean,
not,
I just feel like if that was Henri coming back from whatever, he starts as soon as he's ready, and nobody would say a word
Jesus.
about it. And Jesus
Gabriel
to me is no
Jesus.
different.
Yeah.
So if that's if he's ready to go in there and play, then he plays, right? If he does what we think, what some managers will do and give him like 30 minutes at the end of a match in preparation for a start in the next one, then so be it. But I think the plan ultimately is when he's ready to go 90 minutes,
And
he's
look,
in there.
the question here from the assemble is similar, Gary. Do we think Tierney will start as Zinni is defensively sound? Zinchenko is not as defensively sound as Tierney, but what he does do for us, he can make us play more progressive than Kieran Tierney can.
Yeah, puts United under a lot more pressure.
And he will. And that's the way we played all season. Zinchenko is the number one choice there.
But
Kieran Tierney is a very valuable squad player and can come on and
give
help
Tierney
us.
his due though. He's trying to adapt that role, isn't he? You can see it in his game that he sees what the manager is requiring, and he's doing it. Fair play. I love that.
Stefan's like, I got friends on United sites, and Arsenal very much live rent free in the United heads.
Nice one.
Um,
Where is why not?
Tony,
Where is why not? We've not seen why not now
as
for
we
a long time.
as
Where
it
is he?
become more and more clear we're
We
getting
haven't seen
closer
him
and
like 3
closer
weeks
to the
before
Holy
the World
Grail.
Cup started.
But I've not seen him anywhere. So I hope
I've seen him.
on another
I've seen
level.
him.
Have you seen him somewhere?
I've
'Cause
seen
I
him in
think
some
he's
other
right.
chats. So he's around.
Why is
I
he
don't
He's
know
staying
if
away?
abandoned us.
Why is he
It's
staying
okay.
away then?
Tell him to come over. It's okay, Gary.
You know.
Rashford kills us all the time.
His chair by the fire has been empty for ages, man.
I don't know. It's been like
Well, as
4
we
weeks
say
since the
here,
World
welcome to
before the
Arsenal
World
Fan
Cup started.
Circle. Pull up a chair. Why not? Everybody's included.
Yeah,
Tony?
McTominay is and I think he started
Can't stand
started
McTominay.
today, and I don't like that guy
I
because
hate that guy.
like you said,
He's
he
one of
always
those.
gets away.
He's one of those
Weasel.
guys that gets
He's
away
a
He
with
plays
it.
weasel.
recklessly and just doesn't get punished. But
He's a
That's
weasel.
it, right? Test after test after test, and United will test us on Sunday. Tony, what do you think of Eric Ten Hag? I
I
know what you
like him.
think.
He's good with young players. I think he gets them playing under one. I like how he was criticizing his players starting the year off. He's making everybody responsible. That one time he said he wished he could sub all 11 off. I think that's refreshing. I like that. I like that type of manager, but Simone type thing. But
Mhm.
what I like about him, he develops young players well.
Let me ask you one question, Tony. Did he make a mistake not taking or playing Casemiro or not taking him off in time?
I mean, they're eventually to pick up these red cards, whether it's
Yellow cards, yeah.
five before, but
Do you
20,
think it's on the player himself to not make that challenge?
pretty
He
much.
didn't need to make the challenge.
No.
No. Okay. I thought he didn't need to make challenge. Was 20 yards out and would have been a lot of work still.
Can I tell you what I think of Eric Ten Hag?
Yeah.
I think Eric Ten Hag is what you get if you order a Stone Cold Steve Austin off of Wish.com. And if you agree, give me a hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Let's hope he has a Lundberg debut against United. I remember that one. Okay, Gary, we talked about what United could possibly do to our midfield and back line. What can our forwards do?
He put up my comment while Stan runs away, right?
I want to take Stan to a proper rodeo or maybe proper bull riding event. That's quite random.
No, he was talking about.
Nothing to do with what we're talking about right now. But
Yes, it was.
Gary,
It was when we
Gary,
talked. When I put
does this comment have anything to do with what we're talking
I don't know what was going on
Yes,
before now.
Stan was talking about cowboys being in the gate on a horse, and I said, I like the way they are on bulls. They're like no room for a cowboy. It's fucking shaking them all over. Then they go out the gate. You have fucking no clue what's gonna happen. I love it. Besides the bulls, I try to get a fucking cowboy outfits back.
ESR scored coming off the bench last season against United at their place. I have no explanation for that comment, but obviously Tony explained it. What can we do to them, Gary, going forward?
I think, like you said, now that Trossard is coming into the squad, Martinelli will have to showcase his skills a little bit more. And if he's on his game, it's just going to be pick your left or your right side. What are you going to do? And Erdogan has been playing really well, so we have a big threat to them. And Keita, stay in the box, stay in there, just be ready. He's been doing pretty good as well, so he's going to have to be a positive player for us, as opposed to like maybe disappearing. We can't have that happen. So no, I think their attack is strong in some respects, even though I don't think Anthony brings it all the time. I mean, you see anytime they show him, it's just him spinning around in circles, right? So yeah.
That's his one move.
Yeah,
I think our wingers, Gary, can cause a lot of damage to them.
Definitely.
By Erdegaard as well. Erdegaard won't have Casemiro to watch him, so Erdegaard's probably going to have a lot of license to.
So we should take advantage. We should take advantage of that, and we should hopefully run away with this thing. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Malasia, I think, will be up against Saka. Now, Malasia played Saka quite tight in the first game. Did you notice Zinni and Tierney were on at the same time against everywhere they go? Zinchenko and Tierney were on at the same time. Definitely Don Juan, a debut goal incoming. Didn't watch the match, but I have been seeing something that it's Bruno's fault that Casemiro got a yellow card. I do, Ray Anderson, I saw Casemiro and Bruno have a conversation of sorts after Casemiro did that. He was kind of saying, there's nothing, I had to do it. You know what I mean, Tony?
Yeah, sometimes I have to do that. I want to be surprised if you see Saliba put under that pressure this week because he's still on 4 yellows.
All right. Do you want me to show this comment to Stan?
Yes, I do.
Huh? Yes, you do. It seemed quite random, Stan.
Bucking Bronco.
Yeah. He wants to take you. Okay.
It's not random. Stan was talking about.
Here we go. He wants to take Stan to proper.
Yeah, I tell you, I'm going to Oklahoma, innit? First of all, like Tony's going to like put a sidecar on the old wheelchair for me. We're going to go buffalo hunting over the fucking hills and shit, and then we're going to go do a
last
bit.
of the summer wine. It'll be like last of the summer wine.
Yeah, a bit of radio and a bit of fucking branding and fucking whatever it is they do down there, lasso and shit. I'm up for a lot, mate.
I wish my grandpa was still alive. He could.
They won't like me at rodeos. Then I can imagine they'd be like, "What you doing around here, boy? What you doing around these parts, boy?"
You'll have to get some chaps, Stan.
They'd be like, "You look mighty cute in them jeans."
Will Trossard have a training session on Friday? Otherwise,
I can just see
Don Juan. I think
with a black hat on.
I think he'll be ready to go from the bench.
Look mighty cute in them jeans.
I think that Trossard will be ready to go from the bench. Erdegaard might have that on McKinney.
Ray just blanks it all out there.
Yeah, I got to keep going. going.
Stan.
Funyuns.
I know. Right. I know. I'm not. We ain't got them in Vancouver, man.
Stan, I think we have enough to go against them and hurt them on Sunday.
What, Funyuns? No.
No.
I know. I'm not derailing you.
No.
I do. You have no idea.
We were so close at their place. We were so close at their place, man. You know, that was a loss. That was a loss that was very contentious to me. And as I say, you know, if you're one of them Arsenal players, you want to put that shit right. You'd be like, we're going to show you that we're going to cane you. This is not going to be like a lucky win or some shit. We're going to school you. You will be delivered.
Don't say cane you, because that's like hurricane, right?
Okay.
Use a different word.
Okay, we'll hit you.
I like you.
But they're gonna get their revenge, because that's what I would be looking for, and that's, I think, Mikel Arteta as a manager. That's what you'd be bringing it back up. You'd be bringing up the clips and the twits on the tweets on the big thing. Look what Tony Turner says. You know, the Sooner Gooner.
McTominay will be kicking Erdegaard. How the ref deals with this situation will be key. I think the ref will be key in this game, Tony.
They have been all season. They're inconsistent. VAR is inconsistent.
But we've got to do more so it doesn't matter. You know what I'm getting at? It's like you score 3 or 4 goals. You score 3 or 4 goals. The ref can do whatever he wants. It ain't gonna. We got to put it out of their hands.
I hope the referee's hands to spoil it. 2 goals in the first 20 minutes, and I'll be happy.
One thing that needs to happen is they need to start miking the refs so we can understand their conversation, their thought process. They're never going to do this, right?
Yeah, we've had this conversation. They should come at the end of the game and be asked questions. Why did you make that decision? What was on your mind? What were you thinking? Why are we not allowed to know that?
I want to hear their conversation in real time.
They do it in the Yank football and shit, don't they? They do that shit in Yank football. It's all mic'd up. Basketball, it's all yanked up. It's all mic'd up. So now, why can't we have that? Why aren't we allowed to know what's happening? Why is it such a big secret?
Exactly, it is a secret because.
Do you know what I mean? If everything's clean and above board and that, then there's nothing to fucking hide.
Yeah. 1-0 to Arsenal. I'm changing my prediction. I think Don Juan, you're right. It's going to be a close game. They're going to play it tight as well. Exactly, Stan. We have to put out of the refs' hands.
No chance for them.
Would we take a draw on Sunday? I would. In the end, I would begrudgingly take a draw, but I want
No,
to.
I wouldn't.
No.
Not at home. Not at home. No, not the way we're playing.
last one
I'd
should
be
have
a
been
little
a
bit.
draw. Okay.
I'd be glad that
can't
we
give 'em
didn't
a win
lose.
and a
But I
draw.
would look at it as 2 points dropped. 2 points dropped. I would look at that as. I'd be,
Right.
don't worry. I wouldn't be caning them.
Yeah.
I said that again. Sorry, I can't think of another word. Thrashing them with a big
Okay.
stick. Thrashing them with a big stick. But I would be very disappointed because it's at home, right?
Yeah, exactly. Stefan said they are proposing miking up the refs in Scotland. Daniel said all he has.
Why? You can't fucking understand what they're saying up there.
That's why you're miking them up.
Subtitles. They have subtitles.
All he has, Arteta, as a team
Hootsman.
talk, is Ten Hag said we will beat Arsenal without Casemiro. We don't. Before that's the.
I'd hate to be that closed
That's all we
captioning
need.
guy trying to type in what the hell the referees are saying.
Like Stan said, there's got to be revenge, and I think our players have understood the need for revenge against Tottenham, the need for revenge against Brighton. We tried to do it against Newcastle.
Damn, that could be your 205th job being fucking closed captioning guy for Scottish referees.
That's
Really?
right, Ray. Leave it with VAR. Let them. Well, we want to hear the conversation assemble as well. No way, Arsenal dropping 5 points. Okay. Any final thoughts on the United game, and then we'll go through the Premier League upsets picks, and we'll get out of here. Or if you have any other points to make, say them.
I'll just say that I'm not going into this one afraid. I'm not going into this one pensive or nervous, especially now that I know that we're going to have ESR will be on the bench, right? ESR is a player that when he comes off the bench, he's not one of those players that just comes up and makes up a number because someone has to go off so that we still have 11 players. He actually produces, he can do things. I also think that Leandro Trossard can do that. So now we have more options coming off the fucking bench that can do something. So I go into this match, quite confident.
Yeah, I do too. Tony?
Both are very fucking clinical. So it's going to be nice having that coming on. Two clinical.
I have a fear that Arsenal's goal scoring will start drying up. I hope I'm wrong.
I'm going to call it. Can I call something?
I don't think so.
I can see what will happen is that we'll start with what is known as our best 11 from the squad that we have. And depending on maybe if we need to get something, it wouldn't surprise me to see ESR come on for maybe Martinelli. If he's looking a little bit jaded. But it wouldn't surprise me to see Trossard come on for Eddie. Not come on the left.
I know. That's what I was saying. He can play through the middle as well. And that would probably give them a different
something to think about. Something's happening now. Something different's happening now.
Tactically. My one worry would be, is another worry I'm just thinking about now. Eric Ten Hag is a good tactical coach. I don't want Arteta overthinking it, and I don't want to go back to those days. So yeah, I would like to beat them. And have
is that right? I'm going to play Jacko at left back.
No, don't do that. And Kedia has to put away the chances when they come.
Yes.
I actually think he'll score because he hasn't scored in 3 games now, 2 or 3 games since the FA Cup game.
So he's due one. He's due one.
He's due one. Yeah, exactly.
He should have got 2 against the Spurs.
You know what I mean? And if you can't put it in the back of the onion bag, at least get an assist.
At least one, Tony.
At least get an assist if you can't put it in the onion bag.
I won't be going into this match nervous. Yeah, we feel confident against this one. But it's got to be a quiet confidence and one where we feel like our team can back it up. And we do feel that way. I can't lie. I'm crapping myself down one. United have something over us. Yeah, and the banter from the United fans is something we don't want. We have to bloody go for it by the scruff of the neck and just do it, beat them.
And we've had rest. Yeah,
week out there.
We've had a proper week's rest with training in between, like a normal week. United haven't, and we've got a new addition that's probably training with us. So I think, and underneath that, Ray says that we need to give Eddie a rest. He shouldn't be tired. Really? No, he didn't go away for the World Cup. He should be raring to go.
Abu Kadama is here. Thanks for joining us. United are definitely beating Arsenal. You can
Top
feel
man. Top man. I feel it too, man. I agree, Abu.
Sandro Martinez is just too good. Maybe you're a Manchester United fan, are you? I don't know. You're coming in. Arsenal will need character on Sunday. Huge match for the future. We need to give Eddie a rest. Okay, so that's it. Listen, they
Why
have
do we need to give Eddie a rest when he was begging for fucking minutes?
Okay, it's just one person's opinion. Don't have to get so triggered. You have opinions that are out there too, or different. You know what I mean? Ray is right. Eddie's probably played since what, the 27th of December. How many games have we had now? 6, 7? You know? 100%. I'm trolling. I'm so scared you guys are on fire. Listen,
Ray can sniff them out. Ray just sniffs them out, doesn't he?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
This was a clue. United are definitely beating Arsenal. You can feel it. As long as you're respectful out here, all is good. The key is high energy, quick passing. And
Come on, we got Spurs.
Stan, as Gary said, we come out with the blocks flying. So I expect 15 minutes of, pace, power.
We're at home.
Shots. United will be blocking Saka and Martinelli. We've got to find different solutions. Exactly. I mean, Odegaard, but also Saka can beat his fullback. We saw that last Sunday.
Yeah, but we've all seen as well that Martin Odegaard can pick locks, mate, like he's a fucking lock picker. I don't know. I was trying to think of who can pick locks.
Congratulations. You didn't use the word Kane, so you're getting there. You're doing better.
There you go. The key is Odegaard and Partey. Mate, Martin Odegaard is just pulls the strings.
He's on fire right now.
You know, and he also goes back deep to help with the defending part of the game as well. He does that, and he's got a very good way of, the player goes forward and he arrives just slightly late sometimes, doesn't he? The way he does that, It reminds me of Ramsey used to do that.
Yes.
Arriving just slightly late than everybody else, and then the ball comes back to him, and everyone's like, "Huh?" They're all turning.
Well, that's one thing that switched during the season, because earlier in the season it was Saka the one dropping back. Now it's Odegaard dropping back.
Shots. Abu said, if we find a way to nullify Partey, we have a good chance. He is an incredible player, and he's a player that makes Arsenal tick. And that's been the difference. Partey's been able to break lines. Wan-Bissaka will revert.
Where was he at when we were talking about Partey?
Yeah, exactly. Quick tempo at home is a good start, Don Juan. Okay, I feel confident we can beat United. They lost to Aston Villa. It was their last loss on November 6th away from home. They lost 6-3 against City, and they lost at Brentford 4-0. But that's the 3 defeats they've had. They got 19 points from their 10 games away from home. So they've won 6, drew 1, lost 3. They're not infallible, and we can beat them for sure. Gary, your final thoughts on the game on Sunday, and then we'll get into the Premier League real quick.
Yeah, no, I'm looking for a similar performance than we've had all season. So just expect it again. Right? It's not that they have not. They've had challenges all the way through. This is just another one. This is a redemption. They can redeem themselves from the last time they played. Arteta hopefully is a little bit smarter in the way that he sets the team up. And hopefully we come out fast like we have before. Get the goals early. Not necessarily hold on, but to continue to control the match. I once again confident going into another match. That's what Arsenal's has been doing for us. We go into these matches, we're confident. We've got just as many weapons as they do. We've got just as good a defense as anybody else in the league. Our goalkeeper has had a really good day last time. So anytime we need something, we're getting it. So yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think Arteta is charging his players with being progressive, playing forward.
I'm really hoping that when we come here on Sunday, the banner for the show says the Trossard effect.
I'm gonna think of a pun. You know, I come up with some decent
No,
puns.
if it all goes our way, that
Fucking
is.
other week you didn't.
You can put some puns forward, Tony, for consideration for the show title if you want, for sure. All right, Tony, I'm going to try not to forget about you as we go around this in rotation. But at least once every podcast, Tony chastises me for skipping over him.
But it's just part of a thing.
It's part of the show, right? It's just part of the show, Tony.
Yep.
There is two WGAFs in here. Who gives a crap games?
That's not what it is. It's who gives a fuck game of a week, right? The fans knew.
All right. Well, let's start, Tony, with Liverpool at home to Chelsea. 9th versus 10th.
Yep, they're both not very good. Haven't been in good form. Liverpool's 9th in form. Chelsea's 12th in form. Might be a draw. You'll see. See what the new player for Chelsea does. See if 100
Oh, yeah. Mudryk could play up at Anfield.
100 million euros. See if that's worth it.
Yeah.
See if that's the first striker to work out of their last 20 fucking forwards they've signed. But to me, it's probably going to be a draw.
Yeah.
Or a close Chelsea win.
Two teams that have lost their way, Stan. Liverpool, for sure, and Chelsea. Trying to reclaim things with money.
Mm.
All right. Thanks for being with us, Daniel, as well. Heading for the hills. And check us out on Sunday. We'll see you then. Stan? Liverpool, Anfield, Mudryk.
Yeah, I think a Liverpool win.
Mudryk's going to score 4 goals and do this.
No, he's going to get stretchered off.
Yeah. I think Liverpool should win at home, Gary.
Yeah. It's one of those games where I just hope they both lose.
Liverpool versus Chelsea.
Closest as that you can get to draw, Gary.
I know.
The Ukrainian Britney Spears will flop. On one. Listen, he's not our player now, so he's not. That's it.
Did Mr. Tom hack Don One's account? That's what I want to know. That sounds like a comment.
Yes, I think maybe. Well, Don Juan is bringing good stuff tonight. Okay, Gary, you said a draw. Did you?
Yeah, well, I think so. Yeah, that's what Tony translated it into. So, yeah.
Tony, Leicester City at home to Brighton, 15 versus 7.
Leicester's such a mixed bag, aren't they?
Oh, have you made your pick already, Tony?
I might do a little Selhurst Parks special.
Okay.
And there's another game in there that I'm interested in.
Okay. All right, this one, Leicester at home to Brighton.
Brighton probably will win, but I want to be surprised if Leicester gets a result.
Stan, life after Leandro for Brighton.
Yeah, I think Brighton will still come out maybe this one on top at home.
Yeah, beat Leicester City. I think Brighton will beat Leicester City. Gary?
Yeah, I mean, Brighton, Trossard in or out doesn't really matter. They were winning without him, so expect that to continue. And they're on the road, so it might be a challenge, but not this year.
There's a number of clubs that are going to get close to the end of the season with managers that are on rocky shores, and Rogers one of them. Tony, the next one, Southampton at home to Aston Villa.
Aston Villa should win this. They've been on pretty good form.
Gary did pick Southampton, and I picked Southampton as our upset pick. Is that right, Gary? You're still sticking.
So you're going against the form?
I'm going with Southampton. The win at Everton might just kick them on.
I don't think there's any good form that gives you decent points in a upset pick.
14th versus 5.
Who's that?
Who's that?
In the form table. Southampton's 14th.
No, don't worry about the form table. You can.
Yeah, why you want? It's called an upset. The form goes out the window if it's an upset. How do you give it upset? You
Dan,
can't have an upset if teams are trending in the same direction. It just makes no sense.
Yes, you can.
You can't.
There's
can't
one
be an
coming up
upset.
here in a second, Gary.
Stan, Southampton home to Aston Villa. 20th
Aston Villa.
versus 11th. Aston Villa for you. Okay.
Yeah.
Tony, West Ham at home to Everton.
The first who gives a fuck game of a week, as Ray has put in his notes, and I'm telling you now.
Yep, West Ham 18th and Everton. Two very, very poor teams there, Stan.
Yeah, I
West
think.
Ham said, I go with West Ham.
No, I think Everton might get something out of that one. I mean, look at that player that West Ham bought. Is it Schumacher? It was only like 6 months ago when we were looking at players and, people were talking about players. That was a name that was really booted around as a player that could be desirable. And either David Moyes is killing him or he's not as good as we thought. Not working out at all, is it?
Yeah. Gary, Moyes versus Lampard.
That's just, who would have thought of this? I know everybody thought Everton would be there, but West Ham, I don't think we expected that.
Big drop off, isn't it?
Yeah,
No,
I mean,
big drop.
I guess lucky for them, they're home. So
There you go. Confirmation. WGAF from Stefan. Don't want to see Everton.
yeah,
I didn't want to see Everton go down. Why? Why do you not want to see Everton go down? I think most of us wouldn't mind if that happened.
yeah. I kind of
They should have went down last year.
I think West Ham will get it though. So
All right. Yeah, I think West Ham will beat Everton. Tony, Bournemouth at home to Nottingham Forest. This is number 2 in the WGAF.
Nottingham Forest, they've been on really good form.
Yeah. 17 Bournemouth versus 13 Nottingham Forest. Then.
I think Nottingham Forest might have a little bit to get 3 points away from home.
And to prove Gary wrong, this is 17th versus 6th in the form table.
I mean, they've got enough players to choose from, haven't they? So
It's the form table doesn't matter. It's the league position.
But they're trending up.
But whose form? You can't have the form of Nottingham Forest is what?
It's a win, loss, draw.
No,
win,
but you
win.
just said no. But who's like you gave me the form table, right?
They're in good form. They're
Yeah,
trending
so
up.
so it's not an upset if they win.
There you go, Stan. Danilo debut for Nottingham Forest. Okay,
player that
Tony,
we were linked with.
Tony, let's go just by the league position, okay? Because you're confusing me.
How am I confusing you?
Because you're giving me positions based on form. And that's got nothing to do with this. Tony, Crystal Palace at home to Newcastle, 12th versus 4th.
Well, you know how I like to ride here, Ray.
Are you going to pick Selhurst Park? You're going to pick Newcastle?
I don't know if they can do it twice in 4 days. Can they do that?
No.
What you can't? You don't think Palace are going to be lifted by that draw?
I would love to see Newcastle lose, but
No. They've just got Isaac back, haven't they? And a couple of other players and shit. I think they're
I think Newcastle's a win in a tight game, most likely.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, I know it's Newcastle, and Newcastle don't concede goals, but Crystal Palace are going to be playing at home. They just gotten a goal against Man United.
It could be one of Stan's favorite results, a 0-0 draw.
I'm not going to pick it, but I wouldn't be surprised if Crystal Palace gets something out of this game.
Best pick so far.
I don't know how you guys see that. I don't know. I don't see that at all.
You see Newcastle beating Crystal Palace, Gary?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it is 4th place Newcastle against.
Hey, Ray.
Yeah.
Where's the standings? Sure.
Huh?
Where's our standings?
I mean, the only way you're going to pick it is if you think it's an upset, right? That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
So far, it's the best one on the board.
Tony
it's a good one to gamble with if you're looking to to go big. you know, if you're like third or fourth place and you want to go big, might be one to go all in on.
What
Yeah.
about if you're in first place like me?
Well, I'm picking
Worth a gamble.
Southampton.
You're right, Tony.
20th against
I know
11.
you're in first place.
I could get 9 points then from Southampton. Gary could get 9 points from Southampton.
It'd be a good one for you to go for, Stan.
Southampton playing at home. Stan has picked his, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you. We can't tell you who Stan picked because Tony hasn't made his choice yet. Okay. Who
already told you who it's likely to be.
Who
Right?
hasn't had their say on Crystal Palace, Newcastle? Right, everyone has. Right. Okay.
Yep.
Man City, Tony, at home to Wolves. We'd love Wolverhampton Wanderers to do something here.
It should be a cakewalk for City.
Alonso might have started drinking earlier when he said Wolves would beat City, but maybe he's just going to go. He's going for it as well. You think City will win easily?
Yeah, I think Holland outscored triple the points of Wolves.
Okay, Stan. Wolverhampton Wanderers at City.
Yeah, Man City. I don't think Wolves are up to this at all.
We're waiting to see if Man City are going to start gathering pace. Gary.
But again, you know, if you're playing upset picks and you're trailing behind,
Sure.
what would you have to lose? It's, you know, you got to go big. You get a draw. You get a draw. If there's a lucky draw, you get points.
I'm proud of you.
They just scored 4 goals in a second half.
Yeah.
3 in 12 minutes with their backups.
It would be a big.
Their starters will be rested. Wolves are traveling.
What?
It's just nothing about that says.
I know, but I'm just trying to convince people that are behind me as I'm in second place. People like you.
Well, saying that
I think it's not whatever you call it. It's not a good pick.
Long shot.
In saying that though, Gary, I was going to pick Everton when they played City a few weeks ago, and I didn't. I chickened out of it. Remember that? Okay, Gary, you think City will win, right?
Yeah.
Alonso's picked Wolves. He's going for it, as Stan said.
Exactly. Why not? Throw the sink at it.
City to win 3-0.
Fuck, he has to. What is he at? 25 points?
He's back a bit, yeah.
If I was in Alonso's position, then I would be going for that as well, because you think, well, you know, I got to get the points here. That's what it's about.
Assembled, you are probably right. City's run is starting, but I'm going to pull up this banner that says Arsenal's run is well into it. We've been doing this for 12 games. That's our run right now. So let's have some confidence in what we're doing, you know, just to make you feel better about it. You know what I mean? Yeah, we're waiting for City's run.
Do you know where they're at in the form table? 11th.
Yeah, they're down there. They've dropped some big points. Okay, Tony, make Mr. Tom happy. Leeds.
Not a chance in fucking hell.
Tell that guy.
So I had a really bad thought there. When he said make Mr. Tom happy, I thought you wanted Tony to. No, I'm not going to say what I was going to say. Continue.
Tony, Stan picked Leeds.
Yes.
What were you smoking or drinking?
Well, I think Leeds. You know, they can score some goals.
They're playing at home. Leeds are playing at home. It's not a bad shout.
Yeah.
Right?
And again, right? I'm trying to catch you, right? You're in first
2
place.
out of the last 15.
I've had a bad run for a few weeks. So my luck's got a turn.
Ray, mark me down for Palace at Selhurst Park.
All right, put you down for Palace. There you go. He's seen you. He's seen your move, and he's matched it with Palace. So,
Fine.
8 points to Stan. You know.
Sorry, who are Leeds even playing? I forgot.
They're playing at home to Brentford.
That's all right. That's right. I'm going big.
Ivan Tony.
You know, I'm going big at some point.
That definitely would be an upset.
At some point, exactly. So it would be an upset if Brentford went to Leeds and lost. Would that not be the fucking epitome of an upset in a minute?
Yeah.
Okay. And it would. And if I got it, and if I get that, that gets me closer to you, which is the whole. I'm willing to go for that.
13 out of 15 versus 2 out of 15 in points.
So
I'm saying that. Say again.
Brentford's picked up 13 out of the last 5. Leeds has picked up 2. So that would be a hell of an upset, Stan.
Exactly.
These things can happen.
Exactly.
Stan just took his balls and just dropped them right on the table.
Gary,
fucking right.
Gary, Mr. Tom.
Right. Put me down for Crystal Palace.
Yes. Okay. Mr. Tom has some history with Brentford.
Yeah,
He
I
doesn't
just
like Brentford, right?
like they're home, right? So that might be the only thing.
Leeds are at
Leeds is
home.
home.
I give Leeds a chance here.
They're gonna
do.
break through and get a win at some point. You know, why not
Exactly.
this one? So, you
Tom's
know,
right.
Stan wants to go ahead and bet it. Why not?
Yeah.
Now, you know what? Leeds are kind of they're a weird team. You know,
Could they get a draw?
The trick for them is can they hold on and keep the game low scoring?
Tony
'Cause they-
chuckling. If Leeds draw and you and Palace lose, then you're in trouble, mate.
Mm,
That's a nervous chuckle. I was not
But
mm.
with
I'm
Chess.
still like 7 points ahead of you if that happens. Stan.
Tony the shirt's gonna win, you know?
What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? I give Leeds a chance, Gary.
Yep.
I'll go for a drop. Right?
I can see that. Yep.
What is your
Okay.
pick, Gary? Did you say your pick already?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Southampton.
And that's right. And Rain, what did you say?
I'm Southampton also. 9 points.
And if
9
Leeds win,
points.
how many points?
4.
6.
Yeah, 6. Sorry.
And if Palace win, how many points?
Oh, big points. 8 points.
Look at that. You know, my pick's not nailed in stone yet. It can change because it's not, you know.
Any of our picks,
Tony,
all of
you're
our picks can change. So
If you want to change your mind, you have to do it before the game starts. That's
Of
all.
course. I'm gonna give it more thought.
What's what?
You know what
I'm
happens?
that guy that goes into the casino, goes up to the blackjack table,
You push
See-
all your chips out.
see who's
then you
playing
pull
really
them back
well
in.
and winning, and put my chips on what they bet on. That's what I do.
That's very dangerous. Never change your mind sometimes, you know what I mean? Leeds are a better team and Rodrigo is better than Tony. All right, we'll be here for another 5 minutes probably. Arsenal's going to beat United, no problem, Tony. Right?
Yep.
Right, Stan. Arsenal will beat United. Gary.
It has to be.
All right.
It has to be.
I'd be very
It's-
disappointed.
It's my birthday on Monday, so I need Arsenal to make me happy and give me something. For my
What's that
Don't we,
time?
don't we usually suck on your birthday though, right?
But as a double birthday gift, I want Fulham to beat Tottenham on my birthday. That would be the best weekend ever. Tottenham get battered at Fulham.
Okay.
I
Isn't this
think it's
technically
possible
the
that
third
Fulham
who gives a fuck game of a week?
Fulham could beat Tottenham, Tony.
I don't care who wins. I just want to draw and be over with.
All right, Stan. I think Fulham could beat Tottenham.
Yes, they could, but something I forgot to mention a little bit earlier, which may appeal to some people in here. I'm toying with an idea of opening a little online shop for some bespoke Arsenal stuff, t-shirts and mugs, things of that nature, mouse mats, what have you, but with my own designs on, and I've been coming up with a few ideas. Something I'm playing around with, but just out of interest, is it something that anybody in here would be interested in? Hoodies, t-shirts, North London is red with mugs, that kind of a thing. Because otherwise, I ain't going to bother.
Tony, the shirt.
Tony had his hand up. I'll put you down for 10, Tony.
I'll buy 10 beer coasters from you. Stan.
Alfie shirts.
10 beer coasters.
But something I'm working on, and I was at a friend's today coming up with a couple of designs, and as simple as they were quite effective and quite cost effective. So I'll keep you all informed. The assembled now, not really, Stan.
He just killed it.
Talk about fucking crush my sales. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah.
If anybody's watching this on rerun and has gotten to this point in the podcast, leave a comment at the bottom if you're interested. Had they fallen off the back of a truck, Stan?
No, they're going to be like, t-shirts and hoodies and leggings and mugs and that. But then I'll make the designs on the stuff. I'm not actually making. I haven't got a factory with like loads of little kids at sewing machines actually like making t-shirts and shit. Do you know what I mean? Someone else will make the t-shirts,
Fuck! I was hoping you went that elaborate, Stan. Your little sweat
Oh.
sharp of our
Yeah, I mean,
gear.
I thought you'd be Mark II
little
here.
sweatshop going on in the spare room. Do you know what I mean?
Fuck! That's what I can do.
Snell,
Yeah, dude.
Snell.
Stan, I got
Only
40
fools and
empty
horses.
rooms here. You can come put your
All right.
factory here.
Gary, will Fulham beat Tottenham?
We need more. We need some joy in our life. So
That's
why
fine.
not?
I'm not
Yeah,
letting
but
that
they-
I might even talk to Ray for some licensing
what?
agreements for the Arsenal fan circle logo.
You think about it. Harry Kane's been on this like one
it'll end up a
goal
bit
to
Mudrick.
break a record thing, right?
Yeah.
Why can't it just continue and make us happier? So yeah,
Exactly.
he goes three for three with no goals for Harry Kane, and they struggle.
That would be great. That would be great. Yeah, listen, everybody, let us know what you think about Stan's idea. I never knew what bespoke was, but now I do. There we go.
I mean, they're not generic, right? They'll have slogans on and stuff like that. Buy one for your dad. Buy yourself a mug. Take the piss out of people at work. But it's just a thing that I'm going to toy with. You know what I mean?
I tell you what, bring some designs for Sunday or next Thursday.
No, I'm going to get some samples made, and then you'll see them and shit.
Okay.
But
All right.
you know, it's just a little side thing, and I'm just trying to gauge any interest.
All you need is a laptop, cricket, and heat press. Well, I got my miss to set up last year. Go for it, John.
Don't spoil it.
It's out there now. All right.
I'm still waiting. Hey, stop! Put that back up.
What? This one?
Put BX back up there.
Why is he like controlling? What you,
I'm
trying to
still waiting for the care package he promised me like 5 months ago.
Can you do this offline?
No,
Yeah.
where's my care package?
It's all going to be all or never, isn't it? The
Best not to
documentary.
conduct this thing right now. Listen, Gary, final thoughts tonight?
Well, yeah, no, I'm happy to see Trossard come in. I hope that medical in the morning, in the morning when we wake up, or I guess after I get off.
Remy
Get out of the
Lowick.
shower.
Two words. Remy Lowick. Remember that medical.
Good, Stan. You got a member for your
Hey,
selection.
I think his
hey,
medical
hey.
is hopefully be okay, but hopefully I think he has to be, his medical and all that has to be done before noon. So I guess by 7 a.m. over here on the East
Oh.
Coast,
I
if
thought
he's
they
done,
could've
then
done
he'll
that
be able
last
to
Okay.
he'll be able to suit up for the match in the weekend. So
Yeah.
so
Got to
hopefully
be-
That has to be
hopefully-
the plan.
hopefully they do that, because I'd like to see him
be
in
the
a shirt and on the sideline or coming off the bench. He deserves, he's rested, ready to go, and he's, as we keep saying, he's Premier League ready, right?
Yeah.
So there's none of that like, well, he's not going to be used. Nah, he knows how to play in this league. So he should be one of the first ones off the bench if we need 1 goals to give somebody a rest.
Really appreciate you being
Nice,
with us,
yeah.
Don Juan.
Mhm.
Get some sleep. Great pod. Thank you.
What-
Yeah. It's happened really quickly, Gary. We were able to get players when we wanted to. You know what
Yep.
I mean?
Yep.
Different.
Hey, are you trying to make this another 3 hour?
Sunday,
No, man. Landing gears just come down, man. What's up?
Gary, Tony, that's on you. Interrupting.
Tony,
and
can you not see the lights
sidetracking.
in the runway? They're right there. Can you not see them?
He can't. He's
Tony.
too busy drinking.
Yeah.
What am I
That's on you,
drinking?
Tony. We're sidetracking the show when I wanted to talk about Zinchenko and Partey.
Hey, I kept trying to
Both-
talk
both
about
of you.
Zinchenko.
You're still doing it now.
Both of you down there. It's on both of you. Stan, final
He's a
thoughts?
fucking bad influence.
You're still doing it now, Tony.
It
Is
is
that your
almost
final
3
word?
hours with fucking Gary gone for.
You're
like
still
15
talking,
minutes.
Tony.
All right, Tony. Thanks everybody for watching. I'm going to give Tony the last word, but it's going to be two minutes.
Can I have the last
Yeah.
word? Usually, I like to eat Ritz biscuits, as you all know. But, it's tough at the moment. We're economizing. My missus turns up with these.
What in the
Yeah,
world
'cause
is
you
that?
got-
All I'm going to say is this, right?
Times are tough. man.
Except no substitutes.
Times
Me and the
are
missus
tough.
will be having words after this podcast.
And you'll just be saying yes, ma'am,
Yeah,
and then
she'll be having
and-
the words after you were like, "Be gone with you."
That's why Stan kicked her out of her room so fast. He's
Be gone with you.
pissed off about his
Fuck are
biscuits.
these?
right.
Fucking compliments.
We got a player in.
Compliments.
We're
jazz.
padding out the squad. This is good.
Jazz.
I want to be
What do
United.
they look like, Stan?
They're rich. They're rich knockoffs, mate. That's what they are. Look, they're fucking
they
rich
taste like
garbage?
knockoffs, mate. You know
Stephen,
what I mean?
thank you. We're
Living
glad that
hard
you're
times,
feeling,
man.
feeling better, Stephen, and hopefully you'll get home by the weekend as well. Take care, Stefan. Thanks
Yes,
for joining.
yes.
The assembled.
Quick recovery and all that. Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. Tony, make it short. Come on now.
Good night, Tony.
All right. Take care, everyone. Let's go get that win on Sunday. We owe United one. Let's get it, and we'll talk to you on Sunday after the game. Take care, everyone. We're out of here. Have a great weekend.